कुसंसारपाश प्रबद्धः सदाहं गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि न जानामि दानं न च ध्यानयोगम् न जानामि तन्त्रं न च स्तोत्रमन्त्रम् न जानामि पूजां न च न्यासयोगम् गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं न जानामि पुण्यं न जानामि त्वमेका भवानि कुकर्मी कुसङ्गी कुबुद्धि कुदास कुलाचारहीन कदाचारलीन कुदृष्टि कुवाक्य प्रबन्ध सदाहं गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि प्रजेशं रमेशं महेशं सुरेशं दिनेशं निशीथेश्वरं वा कदाचित् न जानामि चान्यत् सदाहं शरण्ये गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि विवादे विषादे प्रमादे प्रवासे जले चानले पर्वते शत्रुमध्ये अरण्ये शरण्ये सदा मां प्रपाहि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका वैपत्तो प्रविष्ट प्रणष्ट सदाहम् गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका
Gnanaloka Gatha. Yo vad sansaro manu jesu satye muni bhagava ate kisu par sato bale viriya samangi Sansug sansar natnde mupini Rag virag ma nij ma sosan Dhamme ma sansat ma pati kulan Madhurami mang pagunan suri bhatsan Dhammeni mang saranatnte mupini Yatntake dinne maha phale mahu Satu susu chisu purisa yugisu Atteke uppdele dhamme tasati Sangami mang saranatnte mupini Gnanaloka Gatha. Yo vad sansaro manu jesu satye muni bhagava ate kisu par sato bale viriya samangi Sansug sansar natnte mupini Rag Gnanaloka Gatha. Yo vade sampare romanu jesu satke muni bhagava ate chitu pare sato bane viriya samangi sansuk sansare nathe muti rag virag ma nid ma sokan dhamme ma sankata ma pati kulan madure mi mang pagunan suri bhatsan dhamme mi mang sare nathe muti yantake dinne maha pale mahu satutu sucitu pulita yugitu atnteke uppdele dhamme tasati sangami mang sare nathe muti Gnanaloka Gatha. Yo vade sampare romanu jesu satke
न तातो न माता न बन्धुर्न दाता न पुत्रो न पुत्री न भृत्यो न भर्ता न जाया न वेद्या न वृत्तिर्ममैव गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि भवाब्धावपारे महादुःखभीरो प्रपात प्रकामी प्रलोभी प्रमत्ता कुसंसार पाश प्रबद्ध सदाहं गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि न जानामि दानं न च ध्यानयोगम् न जानामि तन्त्रं न च स्तोत्रमन्त्रम् न जानामि पूजां न च न्यासयोगम् गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि न जानामि पुण्यं न जानामि तीर्थम् न जानामि मुक्तिं लयं वा कदाचित् न जानामि भक्तिं व्रतं वापि माता गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि कुकर्मी कुसङ्गी कुबुद्धि कुदास कुलाचारहीन कदाचारलीन कुदृष्टि कुवाक्य प्रवन्द सदाहम् गतिस्त्वं गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानि गतिस्त्वं
मानवक गाथा यो वाद संसार रोमानु येषु संख्य मुनि भागवा हासकिन्तु पार सतो बालवीर्य सामङ्गी संसुग संसार नन्दमूर्ति මානවක ගාථා යෝවාද සංසාරේ මනුජීසු සත්‍ය මුනි භාගවා ආසකිසු පාරසතෝ බල විරිය සමන්ගී සංසුග සංසාර නත්ත මුපිනි රාග විරාගම නේදම සෝසං ධම්මම සංසාතම පාටිකුලං මధుරමි මං පාගුණං සෝදි භක්ඛං ධම්මමි මං සරණත් මුපිනි යත්තක දින්නමහ පාලමා සතුසුසුචි පුරියුගීසු අත්තක
සන්නයි සිල් දනාටම ධර්මයේ ශාන්තියක් වෙන්න හිත පිරිසුදු කරගන්න ශක්තිය ලැබෙන්න අපිට සනසිල්ලෙන් ඉඳ ලැබෙන්නේ අපේ හිත පිරිසුදු කෙනෙකුට. ඔක පොඩි ආර්ට් එකක් in English, right? Today is in English, I got to know. So, well, be happy. There's a particular type of happiness that you can get by purifying the mind. It's very important. So there is a certain art for that. It's not possible to. Everybody likes to be happy, but to make the mind to be happy by making the mind purified, it's entirely a different process. It's not easy. What is purity? What is impurity? Also sometimes what we don't know exactly. So this is the thing if you master, because without the mind we don't experience anything in this world. We call it conscious and unconscious. We can be conscious and we can be unconscious. When we are conscious only, so this mind is the main place where, other than the body, we become aware of our world. So, unless we become, when we know about it, it needs a certain process. When we know that the mind can becomes pure and impure in a certain way, mainly how does it become pure? How does it become impure? We know definitely when we get angry, it's a state of impurity, right? When you feel greedy, we know it's... Everybody understands English or just someone? Shall all understand? Okay. I think some people. All right. Again, you're thinking of something. No problem, don't worry. Not only you, even him. Doesn't matter. Did Swami once say, there is inside or outside, not much difference. But don't worry, I hope you'll get some peace and strength while we go on this particular thing. And this meeting is a kind of some destiny that we happen to meet like this. Though I have a little bit tight schedule these days, but coming back here and being with you all, and I think you all have put this all-night meditation by force on me, I think. It's okay if you want to strive, it's all right. There's it's not a day, today is not I have certain days that should be done, but if you're interested, how many of you are interested? How many are planning to? Can you raise your hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Not all night, couple of hours.
Not all night?
Couple of hours.
Couple of?
Hours. We need to go to office too.
Okay, right. Okay. So I was talking about purifying this happiness coming from purity of mind, and then also there's a happiness that how the mind gets pure and how the mind gets impure. Okay? So normally, according to Buddha, there is something called, he says that suffering is proportionate to our attachments, craving. More you crave, you will suffer. Alright? So now there are certain experiences, that's the majority or the mostly what we experience is enjoying our senses, going towards pleasurable feelings. So when we experience a pleasurable feeling, we are immediately experiencing good, something nice. But what happens? Our craving increases inside us. Okay? When the craving increases within us, according to Buddha's formula, our suffering should increase. How does it happen? Well, when the experience is finished, what happens? We feel heavy and some kind of emptiness. Okay? Say, I remember when we were very young, we used to go to this cinema hall with my parents. Once a month we used to see a movie. Just after the movie is finished, when the lights come out, when the lights are on, you can see a very big difference atmosphere. Immediately, you have been entertained and all that, and then suddenly some emptiness. You can notice this very well with parents also. When they are with children, for example, they have been out for some time and they come for a holiday, say in a boarding or something, and they come back home and they spend some time and they go. Suddenly the parents, that's a great joy for them to see and hear. I've seen this, I have never been a parent, but I've seen in others, when the children leave, if they're close to you, they suddenly see, some emptiness and so proportionate to the enjoyment you get from outside. The absence of it creates suffering. And as soon as it ends off, you can't maintain such a happiness forever. And it goes on. That's the main reason for the suffering in pleasurable experience. Okay? So, normally then when we experience these pleasures and craving increases in us, there is that what we call the mind gets impure. So how the Buddha defines, or anyone we can know, when we get angry, when you have greed, when you have ego, this all makes our mind impure. But the absence of that, compassion, letting go, compassion, and absence of greed, this is the mind that makes it pure. So how, normally, when we experience these pleasures only, normally we can notice that people have a sadness for no reason, sulkiness for no reason. Sometimes they don't know why they are but because they don't have another alternative also, you can't see an unsatisfactoriness for no reason. But when you discipline yourself and when you are conscious of it and you try to overcome anger, greed, these things, the mind gets pure. Maybe initially some difficulty, but with faith and some knowledge, you have compassion, you try to be honest, and these things you try to practice, and you give, you become generous. then what happens? That means you're avoiding some of the pleasures you might get in the sacrifice. Then the mind is not it's not stimulated in a way for greed to increase or craving to increase. Then according to Buddha's law, our suffering should reduce. Yes, it does. What happens? We have a happiness for no reason. A joyfulness, a peacefulness. It shows in our face, friends. It's a face, you can't hide it. Problem is, almost all of us are suffering in that we don't notice, we think it's normal. The child normally experiences this lightness and just simply be light and be happy as you are. All this, load of thoughts and this thing and this is some training. That's what Buddha is teaching is actually we don't come to temple to be sick, right? Not physically sick, I mean, mentally sick. We associate temples and all these things. Buddha is like a doctor and monks also like, in a way, like doctor, representing the Buddha in some way, to remove our mental suffering. We can feel that when we come to the Bodhi tree or this, when we just see the sign of the temple, the Buddha's energy emanates from the place. It's not a small place, It has been consecrated and established by a certain thing. It has that force, the life force is working. If you know how to use it, of course. And so this is like that. Before I go to my main purpose of this visit and what I want to give you all, how many of you are coming today or meeting me today, not yesterday? Can you raise your hand, please? You didn't come yesterday? You came, no? Yeah, I can see your faces. Just kidding. Okay. And what about here? Okay. All right. So we might have to hear the same things, right? Okay. Can't help it because I have some routine points to. Okay, sometimes suddenly spontaneously some things might come out, but like now, just now some explanations. But I have a general thing to cover. Put you all in a general track. The reason is I'm also going on a certain path of practice. I'm not a preacher or a Dhamma Desana thing. If anyone is really interested to practice, maybe I'm a little bit helpful. If you really want to put your life into that, then maybe this is helpful. There are several occasions that, of course, I have this compassion for a long time. Want to serve the people, give them this support, give my life to them. But I am never interested to be around people. I'm a little bit like alone, and if you find who would look after me also, here I'm a little bit stuck with a few people who have to take me here and there. Otherwise, I have my own thing. When in a temple or monastery I'm there, I would not go out. I'd be doing my things. I have no time also to go out. So, even in Sri Lanka, I keep a big distance from people who are closely supporting me. Even for years, I have never gone in their vehicles, nothing. I have my separate. So this is one of my teachers, way to be independent, to be away from, do your thing. So now I have to, before coming to this, certain things happened that told me I went too far. I should have shared something. That was 2-3 occasions of near-death experience. One was in 2015 in Kailash. Maybe you all have heard, who have listened to the discourses. That is in Mansarovar, just this beautiful mountain, Kailash, just near there's a huge lake. It's supposed to be the biggest lake in the Himalayas, 98 kilometers long. Some say it's Anotartha Villa, but it is supposed to be, it is Kailash, Mansarovar, now the present name. Still there is some things associated mystical about the area. So there I was told not to go, 2015, because after the earthquake in Nepal, I was in Buddha Gaya at that time. Actually we were taking dana. This table was shaking. So this is in Buddha Gaya, but it's in exactly the the place where the Kathmandu and down is Bihar and Buddha. So this Sheikh, I was at that time the head of that. Then there was my brother Mount. So it was shaking, but I thought maybe my meditation, because I was not sure whether I was really experiencing that. But then suddenly I realized, it's shaking, it's shaking, and then just go out, call to see. It was the time that big earthquake took place in Nepal. And that time, I normally used to go every year to Kailash, so I went for different reasons. I went to see there are a lot of people who helped me in many years going to Kailash, the agencies and those people. So I want to go and see them in their really tough time. So when I was going, the flight, the immigration or the ticket, I think the ticket people, they were asking, all are coming out, why are you going back? Why are you going in? Rescue people are going. And I said, this is the time I must go. This is when they are in need and fear, who have helped me, and I'm nearby to that area. And so anyway, I went. When I went there later to see, I got some mystical signs that not to go. But sometimes I don't believe, I don't rely too much on some kind of, I try to relate to the reality present through my eyes also. So it came to me not to go this year, no. But then suddenly the visa permit was possible. The agencies were open, and so I went ahead. And I was also a little surprised. Everything went nicely, smoothly. And then finally I was in Lhasa and then going to Kailash, in the vehicle. So while we were going, everything was okay. Until we came to Mansarovar, the lake. There suddenly, it was okay, but I was so overconfident, I think. So there's suddenly a shift of altitude to 4,900, 700, 800, 900 meters from sea level, from Saga. Saga means just before that one city. So there, when I was seeing Kailash, when I was nearing the lake and all that, I was surprised. So I was remembering, and then I was given these signs, not good to go this year, but then I just made it. So anyway, I forgot about that. And normally I have, gone into the water. So I was looking for warm, we had come a little late, so I was looking for a warm area to dip in, the lake, the Mansarovar. Went, there was no particular place for getting cold, the wind was strong, but I saw a cave and I went there and I started meditating. The wind was so strong that, it was so chilling, and I had no proper, like this I was, not properly. Normally I have jacket and all that to cover up, but I didn't wear that. And I was exposed to the cold. Then I meditated. Then I went back to the vehicle, and they were trying to get me a room, and it took a long time. I was staying in the vehicle, waiting. Suddenly I was feeling like dizzy. What happened was I wanted to take a bath. There's like a hot water springs. So I went there and took a bath, which I had done before in previous visits. And the heat was so strong, suddenly the cold and then the heat, I could feel a lot of energy going from my body. But I was feeling fresh, I thought, but it was very hot. But I wanted to just dip in. Not only dip, I waited for some time and then I came out. It was okay, I went into the vehicle and they were taking a long time to find a room for me. Suddenly I was feeling like, dizzy, like something very unnatural. So I knew it could be altitude, this thing. So I quickly went and told them, please can you arrange me this thing, I want to rest. So they quickly arranged the room, and they are like, very, like you're going to the Wild West, okay? If you can picture it. It is remote. Western Tibet is a very rugged, remote area. It's a lot of army camps, checkpoints, supposed to be the military, they're facing India and Nepal, they have their nuclear weapons, I heard, I don't know, but it's full of army. We have passes, special permits to go there. So then I was lying down. I was not getting well, I was slowly getting weak and slowly like breathless, like this, and then just imagine how far, like you run and breathe, how long to go like that, okay? Then even I had boots, this snow and all that, so the boots, I had like special boots, and I was trying to tie this thing and go and tell them before I collapsed. So I tied the boots and then went, and they knew I'm having this altitude sickness. There's no medicine for that, only descent. Because water goes to your brain, one this thing, and the lungs. They can. So I think it's my lungs that time, and the water. Then when the brain gets this thing, severe headache. These are one of the symptoms. But here the breathlessness is with the lungs. So even I couldn't lift my hand, like it was getting weak like that. So then they were calling and they were trying to get some local doctor. So at about 12 o'clock, they bought this doctor. They gave some local, I had high blood pressure also. And he had these small instruments, Hore, the village is called Hore, from there this man came. And I was lying down. Then he told me to take these tablets, and next morning until we had to wait for, there's a place called Gnalokot where by helicopter to take to, that's the only way. So I was now prepared, I don't think I'll make it until morning. So I was lying down in the, I was, lying down, and at 3 o'clock, I never forget the time is not passing fast, 2, 3. I was like, then I tried to meditate. Then I had this certain meditation. Before I started to do that, a thought came to me, I couldn't do enough to the people. Okay? I've told this before, I couldn't do enough to the people. That then can't help it, next life I will do it. And then there's a practice where, if I'm going to die, we have trained now. This is the one I'm now training, giving you all. Okay, this trip, especially, this is the one I'm giving because I already knew, and that's why I used to read the suttas, but I never able to give. People can't on their own. Buddha's words, they read 1 page, 2 page, it doesn't go. They rather listen to me than listen to the Buddha. That's how our mind is, Unless we know the super benefit and some mystical thing that happens to us, that I'm going to explain to you. Okay? So what happened? There we have a practice where we look at as Rupa Vedana Sanya, like from outside, not our body, our being. It's the best way to prepare for death. Okay? If we can properly do that, we won't die. Right? We will not identify with what dies. So anyway, I was doing that. Later I did that. But anyway, I was calm, and then I was able to, the hours passed, I died, just waiting, but not getting word. I'm not like I'm trying to go into, normally go into a coma, okay, after some time. So morning, the doctor came also, he came a little late, like 7 o'clock. When he came, I was going to remind tomorrow Pindapata maybe 6:30 because all night we are going to have. Don't worry, I'm not having altitude sickness here. To evacuate quickly. I want to remind maybe after the 6:30 that light will be coming. So then what happened? The doctor came late, and he checked and he said we'll have to go down quickly. But that time, the Gnalokot, that particular base near the border in Nepal, all the flight or helicopter, they are all gone. We have to wait until next day. So there's no way, so we started with the vehicle to descend. At least it's getting less. So I was going even in the other, time to time, night time, I get I'm going to bed. Like a stroke, you feel like I don't know. So it went on like that. But the reason I want to tell was that was one occasion. And then in 2017, I came, and then I felt a little better. But still when I saw the people, when I met the people, I couldn't teach them what I really want to give, some of the deep things. The reason was, I found they were, I was telling things that were obstructing their way to Nibbana. Okay, way to liberation. It's no point, I'm not a person, we like to talk about fancy things about liberation. I can only tell you how to trot on the path, how I did it also. How to remove all the blockages and obstructions. So anyway, I was, then that trip was like that. Then again I thought I might come 2017, 18, 19, 20. 18 I went to USA, that's the last, in January, like that. And then I was going again to Himalayas and to Canberra, like that, continuing. So each year I was continuing and the calling did not come. But last year a certain thing happened. Would you like to listen to that? Okay, what made me, and then I will come to, okay? Or do you want to, it's like a storytelling, right? There is only nothing but experiencing something. I will tell you some interesting things also, okay? It's not, then what happened? Last year, also I went through some difficulties. Every year I was going to Kailash, okay? And last year I had an operation done in Rishikesh for stones. And in Rishikesh, I don't know if you've been to India, you can die going to a hospital, okay? Because it's such a, chaotic, so much crowd, so much population. They can't do the service. Like I was in a, ward which was like full of these people, and then luckily, I don't know, for some, but there's some order in that chaos, very interesting. Some things move on. And there, this particular doctor, they were all cooperative, they treated me very well and quickly fast forward everything for me. And that was some miraculous thing. Anyway, I went through that, and then in Delhi, I was bitten by a dog. Okay, I have a mark here now. And I go to Changa so many times. Sometimes bears are coming, and then snakes are all over. But nothing happened. If something happened, they are finished, because there's no way of bringing to emergency. Even last time in Kabilita, in the Yala National Park, I was also a little bit, I was put the torch like this. They're called Leb Mapila, Leb Mapila. It's a blood, I don't know what you call, viper or what? Viper. They're everywhere, putting the torch, one here, one there, I could count. And then I was thinking, I'm in this midst, but of course, long time we have learned not to be frightened. Otherwise, how can you stay there? And fear kills you actually. They feel the vibrations, the animals, and they react. They have an order and they have rules. Not like human beings, more rules, they don't attack just like that. Even if you trample them, they will wait, unless they are really so, like hunters. How do you see their distorted face and all that? The bears have just jumped from nowhere. And they were wondering, because they feel the vibration. Those beings, they perceive, even animals, any type of animal. So, then what happened in this dog bite, and not easy for me, not here, it is a few people now here, something happened maybe. There I keep my attendance far away. So anyway, I was able to get the treatment for that. Then after that soon I arranged for Kailash. So it was only not even 2 months. But when I came to Lhasa, the Tibet capital, and just suddenly a high altitude, I was feeling an unusual weakness. Very, but this time I had some Chinese devotees who were very, they were giving me full support from the airport. They picked me up and they were looking after me, they were constantly with me. There is all China. China is a very, you feel like you're in a prison. It's not an easy place. Everything is looked, monitored, and especially in robes due to Dalai Lama, they have quite a bit of you can't teach, preach or talk spiritual things with anyone. So anyway, these Chinese devotees, they were there for me that time. I had full, and they saw I was getting weak. At night time, they took me doctor also, and they were monitoring my everything. But I was now postponing going by vehicle. It's a very strenuous 3-day journey, slowly acclimatizing to high altitude. So what happened? I was wondering what's this weakness. I thought maybe I'm old now, and that's maybe because I couldn't see any reason, but I did find the reason. During the operation, blood has gone. So when the blood has gone, this kind of exertion is not good for at least 1 year or 6 months. So, but the doctor also didn't think I'll be going like this. So then I faced this, tremendous. Then I waited. Now our time, we have a schedule, like there is limited time we are given the permit. So then some perception came to me that if I don't tire my body, there's a way of going to Kailash without tiring the body, to go. So entirely a different route was taken to another nearby town which had an airport. But the problem is it's like sudden altitude, 4,000 meters suddenly up, high altitude. So it's suddenly going without going gradually, it has its danger. Anyway, there's no other option. Only thing is just a few hours of flight to that place, no exertion of going 3 days in rugged mountain. Then finally we decided to go like that, and these others came who were guide and the driver with the oxygen cylinders. So this is the first time I used oxygen and going to Kailash. Anyway, I didn't go back. I went there and came back. After that, things were getting better slowly. Slowly. After that trip, I want to tell you this because with great difficulties, good things wait for you. I have experienced this so many times in my life, where challenging things come very strongly. More challenging means that very good things are waiting for you. Like gems are waiting for you. So every occasion I have seen. So what is the gem? It's actually what I'm doing now. But for that, August 1st, certain special things happen. In India, I was told by, what was this, one of my assistant who helps me there, because when I have to go without touching money and all that, he was the oldest assistant I had. He now is not close to me, but anyway, he told me there is this place, a special person. Now he's doing a lot of Swami. He called me Swamiji, why don't you go? I said I am not interested, but when I got to know the mountain, there's a mountain, and I felt there's something special there. So I went there, not to meet this person, because lakhs and lakhs of people, now he's actually also in India creating that revival, because all the people are losing faith in monks and sadhus, and this thing they feel is like they're losing faith. So he's actually creating it's called like a chamatkar. Chamatkar means some kind of meditation power he's demonstrating. So what he does is he's well known. He's like lakhs of people. He will call them by name or this thing. Like first he will call them and he make them sit down and he will write. When he write, then he asks, "What's your problem?" They say, "This my problem is this and this," and he has written the problem, and then he has given some solution also. So this he became very popular. How does he get? And sometimes he has told, he tell a telephone number and tell them to ring that number, and the person is called out of the thing. So he's very popular. But he has been living a pure and some power he has got. So it's very good. So he was there, but he can't. So much crowd. So I was interested in the mountain where he was supposed to have, where his area. I went to the mountain. It was very nice, and there are a lot of people from all over India. People, cripples and blind people, deaf people, blind, deaf, like Jesus' time. Very interesting. So anyway, I was there in the mountain there, and then I went the second trip also. When I went the second time, very interestingly, he was in the same flight. He was going after a tour somewhere. He was in the same. Then we went. He went. Then in the airport, there are a lot of some crowd there in the night time. These people, I was there, but I must tell you, something. I was like disguised, okay, like so that they would not properly notice me. I can't explain you how and why, but he could not note. Now like this, I'm looking very prominent. All right. So anyway, suddenly he called me. And he told his assistant. He first asked me when he saw me from the car. He was about to go. He called me, and I was in a corner. Are you going to that place? He said. Okay. He asked me. I said yes, I'm going there. And he told his assistant to bring me there. So then I had already the vehicle for me, but we followed, and then he went to his mom's house, because after his tours, he's to go to his mom, and he's tired after. The first thing he goes to visit his mom. It's a very remote village, It's like no real facilities. So after that, there's also crowd. They got to know he's there, and there's army and all that. Very interesting, scenario. And then I was there. Then he called me inside, and he called another person also. The message from like the balcony came to Sri Lanka. Let him come. When I went inside, cut short, I will tell you, very interesting. He did the same thing for me, he told, I want to talk to you a minute. His English is not very good, just like me now. After a long time, I'm practicing my English. Okay. So then he sent the other people, and then to see, he gave me some things. Later on, I visited him several times. Okay. When I visited him several times, one day he came in the night, not enough, not enough. I was wondering what is not enough. Then he told me later, my practice is not enough. So I was wondering what, my practice. Then he explained to me, we are expecting you that that you can do more. You can do more, that we are expecting you will do more. You can get more power, more practice. And that's why we want we said like that. And he explained. So he didn't tell what I should do more. So I went to Sri Lanka. I was in India also and practiced more. But I came back again one day. I saw him from far and he asked, when did you come? And then he asked me, I immediately asked him, how is my practice? I want to know now, after doing. He did like this. He looked and thought, and then he did like this. And then he said, what he means like this. What do you mean? You know what it means? If someone says like this, it means what? Medium. It's an Indian sign language or what? Not Australian. Eh? Have you ever familiar with like this? It's okay. Like this, right? So what he did was he told, I will explain to you in his kutir or room. In the 2 o'clock I meet him. It's not easy, I don't know how it's a very surprise thing for me also, with so much crowd trying to struggle to meet him. Then he explained to me, there is a particular meditation where you see there's no me, no me meditation. He called me like that. In South India, there is Ramana Maharishi, I don't know whether you're familiar. There is something for inquiry. Who am I? I think some of you seem to be familiar. So this self-inquiry way of this thing. So this is the closest he could, from his vocabulary and knowledge, but he was referring to something in the Buddha's main teaching. He later told me that when you do this is the highest practice, highest kind of sadhana. Sadhana means meditation. If you do this, we'll have to search for you, we'll have to look for you. So he was encouraging me, and that's the same time he told me that we both have been together in previous life. Previous life, we have been like brother monks, brothers, yogis. And later he told me, that we are both like same mold, like the same, both no difference. So sometimes I think my yogic way is very similar to him, that kind of practice. But my other one, of course, is very different regarding enlightenment and going towards self-realization. So I don't think he has that knowledge at all. So anyway, he told me like this. So what I did in Sri Lanka, I was there, I practiced. Now I started reading. I knew now. And another one he told was, there's a book with me that when you read this book, everything will become clear. Now I have a book. Today I am also having it in the room. This book is to go with me everywhere in the Himalayas for many years, the caves and all that. Because this I used to practice very deeply when I was a young boy. And slowly when I have to do very ascetic practices, I happen to use like a mental power, like samadhi, concentration power. More it came to me because, if you know, as a young monk also, I was walking miles and miles, like through LTT. Sri Lanka, we had terrorists. Then in 2003, in fact from our monastery to there, like it took me 1 month and 3 days, I counted the days. From Gaul, we have the south of Sri Lanka, Gala, from there to Nagadeepa. And I had to cut across the LTT area. Those days I used to wander like my teacher. on foot. So for all that, the main practice I used was the kind of concentration power, where I was enveloped with a certain energy field, so I would not feel much hot or cold or even the hot road, and so this kind of practice I have to do. So then this thinking and analyzing and self-realization practice got reduced. So then this, after meeting him, he was now stressing this, that I have to do this particular practice. So I went to Sri Lanka and started. I knew exactly, but not like when I was young. I started reading faster, not more focused, but just continued reading. There's a section called Skandasvatka Samarpanamaka, my teacher has told. So it is all to do with like analyzing reflection. So I continued to read. And I went back. Then, according to them, 80% the meditation has grown. Now I have been doing all this time concentration or samadhi or calming my mind and other devotional practices, but after I started doing that only, they suddenly saw, then I realized something unseen, very fast, some positive energy and great merits or kusal, skillful state of mind is happening while doing this. So then I went to another forest again in Sri Lanka, in the north, and I started reading the rest of the thing, completed it. Very fast, not like before. And I went back again, 120%. Okay? So then only I started these retreats in Sri Lanka and also took over the ashrama. I started this ashrama, we are training for 10 days, 5 days, giving these retreats. 5 days is the minimum. Actually, this is a 15-day thing at least. But according to the modern day, this thing, people's rushing life or lifestyle, I made it for 5 days and 10 days. So 5 days is the minimum, and I can see after like 4th day they are getting these results. And there's something that can, it happens something in their mind, something substantial. But I noticed even one day it has some effect. We had this in Sydney. Not Sydney, I'm sorry, Victoria State, but
Melbourne.
in Melbourne, what is that place called? Sorry? One day we had a retreat, 8:30 to BSc or something they say?
Very.
Not very. There's a lot of Thai monks, I think Ajahn Brahm's center. BSc or something, they have initial. That's right, yeah, that's right. So I was really reluctant to have it for one day because nothing will happen, I agreed, okay. In Sri Lanka I sent the message, okay, at least better than nothing, something. But it was thirsting for this, I guess. So anyway, so this now 5 days like that is happening. So later, now I begin to, even Somahandra used to explain, how our certain, this he also told me sometimes, like, have you heard of Somahandra? No? Young people I think you all don't know. He was like a very fiery force in Sri Lanka. He showed again so he has ascetic life, he spent in caves, then there's times he will walk from those remote areas to Colombo. So he has a background, he's quite a pure soul. Of course he got little involved with social reforming and politics also. So people don't, but we can sense he had greatness in him. And he was a great soul. We rare to even find such a beings who come with that caliber, that force. So I used to see him when we were very young, he used to take these small pieces of paper and we could see him doing walking meditation. Now in Vajrarama in Sri Lanka, it's not a meditation place, there are scholars and all that there have been. But you could see this young monk, I was also very small, and he was like, I don't see young, but I saw him as my achi, my grandma used to take up me. And we could see him doing the walking meditation. He was practicing these things, though he was in a kind of a temple atmosphere. So he continued to do like that. And then suddenly we didn't know, he looked very nice, pure and nice looking. We never knew he would become like a very force one day. And he did become. So he told me one time, he told the same thing, that he's going through 4th time the sutras, the Buddha's teaching. 4th time he's going through, but I could see, he said, what is striking in your mind, memorize it. There's something, he nicely explained, there's something in the brain that changes, and especially the blockages here. Now he touched actually the frontal cortex, and they will get clear. What he said is unseen blockages are there, which we can't do by sinus operations or that's what we see. Okay, there is something which is more finer in our brain that we it can happen by this this, because the wisdom lies in the frontal cortex. Okay, the wisdom eye is a special eye that has to be awakened. So what blocks it, what brings these blockages is mainly the 5 hindrances. Okay, 5 hindrances. What is this? Sensual desire, and what is aversion, and sleepiness, drowsiness, worry, fear, and doubting mind. Okay, these are connected with our reptilian brain mostly. So the frontal cortex, the wisdom eye is in that. So he also explained, I'll never forget, pointing out that when you read this, he told me to read, when you do like this, when you memorize and do like that, certain blockages will remove. He told me like that. That not only blockages, what I say is your destiny will get clear. So already my teacher has given us how to, now the way we use it, according to my teacher, is that we are using the sutra for its final purpose. Okay? One main purpose is to get liberated. It's not just getting some knowledge or getting a wisdom kind of wise brain working only, but only also making sure that you touch the immortal state. So that's a special one which is called Yoniso Manasikara. This Yoniso Manasikara, there is only one, that is, we call it wise reflection, I could say wise, deep reflection, contemplation. This special thing, this is the one in the retreat I'm trying to give, how to use the sutta as a meditation. It was for that purpose only. It is not some intellectual thing that then you corrupt and you lose the purpose of the sutta. Buddha's direct words. These were actually some things Buddha didn't explain until the person was right. So now we are having it all collected together. So until the person was mature, the Buddha did not explain, he didn't come and discourse that. He waited for 5 years sometime, 3 years. When the person was maturing, he saw from his own Buddha eye that now he's ready, then he went and told these teachings. So now what we have to do is like we have a bunch of keys, we have to try it. So that's what he said, don't think I'm gone when I'm, the last advice he gave me was don't think I'm gone, my teachings will be your teacher. Don't follow you to tell like that, even if you hear someone that this one is like an arahant, this one is like that. Don't say yes, don't say no. Arahant means like, who is enlightened. Society might say something, but you can go there and check. But don't say yes, don't say no to what they're saying. Compare it to what I have spoken, what is recorded. So he wants us again and again. So this is something I am, how it is done, because we have our own personal experience with this. I'm not talking today, I'm getting the book and giving you all. This is there from the age of 18. Okay? The age of 18, I knew it, I had no opportunity to give it. Not some personal full experience. I was telling to read the sutta, because I didn't know whether I'll ever come back, something will happen to me, or I might pass away. But now, at least, I got the opportunity to even lay down and create that and finally give some of the treasures what my teacher, main treasure, my teacher gave us. Because in the retreat, it's not just reading one sutta like Dhamma, Satipatthana Sutta or something. There's an entire section you are reading. The Buddha, he has formulated to read, go through an entire section where your brain is brought into a certain way and then shifted to another direction. Where, it's a very unique from his experience, where the focus takes you to that very pinpoint, puts you in that area where you are, able to, get that intuition. So it prepares you to enlightenment. Like some of them look repetitive. But this time also he told some of the arahants to repeat that same discourse next day. Then only they became enlightened. The first time they were clear, they were okay. But only the second time they were, that they had the breakthrough. They had that sparkling or clear insight, intuition. So this is the way my teacher, this thing, it is so, there are other benefits also. Before I explain that, I must also tell about, now when you have, I will come to that, when you have anger, greed and delusion, when you're having these things, to corresponding to that, there is some chemistry in our body too. Okay? It's good for everybody especially the young people. I will touch that part. So, there is some chemical reaction or hormonal activity. So, for example, we know when we have fear and worry, there is adrenaline, right? Have you heard about this? Then the adrenaline makes us have those thoughts, right? Fearful thoughts and all that. So there's an interrelated connection with these hormones and thoughts and hormones. So now it is same with sensual desire, lust and all that. It also it creates in the body, I would say like, and then it creates these thoughts again in us. Now, say for example, you create the opposite of that. Say fear and worry, you create here, fearlessness, peacefulness, and maybe compassion, and then you read these things. Then also something, when you are looking at it without ego and analyzing, those thoughts, something should happen in your brain. It does, or some hormone should change. If you have adrenaline forming the other way, when it's passing a certain level of calming down, peacefulness, and faith and devotion, and then wisdom and reflection, something should get formed also. There is something that formed, is called ojas. This is not in the modern this thing, it is in the the rishis or the seers in India. They have brought this term because they know this happens in the body. It's called ojas, which is normally going to the brain. It will go to the brain and get deposited in the brain and open up areas which has not opened up before. And it will start to give these thoughts again. So more you are doing this, it will start pumping, it goes to the brain like this, and then it starts to get deposited. And so more you get this, I have told this, you get a shine in your skin. This is one, you get a shine in your skin, even you may be dark or fair, you look magnetic, you look, attractive. So knowing this, some of the models also, I got to know they do yoga and all that, so that, they create that, not only they are modeling, but they create that inner charminess. So this is also related with our this is related with our virtue. How much we are, it shows in the thing, the skin becomes like light. Now we always, normally we apply, what is this, Fair and Lovely, right? Like the men don't. So that is, but of course when you even apply Fair and Lovely, when you're not Fair and Lovely inside, okay, it looks so funny, right? Like a what is this, call it a puppet. You put some lipstick to this, you have all this even in the showrooms, it looks, you have put this thing, it looks like this waiting. I have noticed this sometimes. I remember our finance controller when I was working, full of makeup. She used to come and then, but you could see her emotions are so negative that, she looks so like dead inside. The soul is dead. And it looks so funny with all this lipstick and all that. It's really funny, Of course, nobody notices that, I guess. So anyway, this charm goes away. The shine comes. Now, when you're analyzing and reflecting, there's another special type of hormones that get created. It's called tejas. Tejas is more finer, more this thing than the ojas. So these are the positive side, of when you do these things. It creates in your personality. All these people who have, made a mark in this world, they have done something. They have controlled themselves. Even Hitler, he was a vegetarian. You have heard, I think. And I'm sure he was also like celibate, He had no this big deal with some relationship. He had somebody, but it shows that, there was some discipline, restraint. But of course, that force was used to not something very good. Maybe a demon wanted to become a saint. and got mixed up like that. So anyway, this is the other way. There's another thing I noticed. I have told this story yesterday also, but you'll have to, whoever listen to it might have to listen. I'm covering some points through these stories. There was this, I told you, a friend of mine, her granddaughter was put in this school in Sri Lanka. It's called a British school. They can't afford any money, but they were not thinking in terms of their means. So they put this child into that school. And then suddenly, she was a very young girl, she went astray. I think they allowed this sleepover? Sleepover, right? Yeah. And so this his father was thinking everything in the West was very nice and must this thing, and then finally he got a shock when this daughter was, So then the grandmother, one day she came to tell her problem, the small girl, and when she came to me, I remember the grandmother asking her, have you taken a bath? So I was also wondering why she asked that specifically, And then she came and then she told me everything. She was telling me like how she got addicted to certain things with the phone. I don't want to tell you my guess, okay? You all can guess what it is. So even in the toilet she had been, just going on, looking, these things. And now she's around her, she's getting the smell of feces or stools. Poo, okay? Am I right? I don't know. This word I have not long time used. Poo is correct, I guess. So it's getting the smell of poo. So I have told last program about how unseen dimensions get opened up and those spirits enter the body. So this is, I think, those spirits that eat poo, or who are their body is made out of poo, I guess. And but it is very clear in the Buddha's teaching also. It shows, when you are doing some devious work or activity or addicted, a certain, smell emanates from your body. Okay? Even when you do good things, the other way, it says a certain order goes from your body up to the Brahmaloka. Brahmaloka means the highest, far away realms, that it goes to that extent. So the opposite could happen. So this is very interesting. This is very important today, modern day. And I would touch this point also very clearly regarding the phones, which I recently came across. We have something called the pineal gland. And in the pineal gland, we have, yesterday I told you this word is always, causing me trouble, serotonin. Correct? Serotonin or serotonin? How is it? How do you pronounce? The Australian accent is more difficult. Correct, right? Serotonin is, and also melatonin, or there's another, which is like a good hormone which helps you to concentrate, to focus, and all that. It's supposed to be in your pineal gland. Now, pineal gland is very important for our concentration and also for meditation. Okay, normally the gurus, some who transmit energy or even samadhi, they would touch the forehead. Okay, they would touch to initiate also. So this is actually activating the pineal gland. So this particular, which I got to know, even in the phone, the blue light in the phone, it's well known that it reduces or it damages the serotonin, the hormone. And it makes you, so even processed food and things like that, especially the phone. And so this you have to be conscious of. If you want to develop even artificial light, any kind of artificial light is going to affect you. So this kind of lifestyle is going to make you have less focus power. What do you mean less focus power? When you have less focus, you will be distracted, impulsive. And that is dangerous. What is impulsiveness? Come from greed, which connected with unnecessary distractions. You will go easily, no willpower to control yourself, and also anger and all these things. So this reptilian brain will increase more. And not only that, the phone, it's well known now. What is this Zuckerberg, or what's his name? This, am I right? I can remember that part. because it sounds sort of funny, Zuckerberg. Okay, of course, it's a German language. He's facing some, I think from legislation that he's facing a lot of, but he has put himself so immune with all these complaints from parents, suicide cases, and all that. From what games? So it's games, all this, what it's like a, we have 5 precepts. The 5 precepts we have something called, we have what is this, Suramere Machpamadattana Veda Manisika. That is, Suramere means intoxicating things we don't take. Now, intoxication means what? Dopamine rush, in your brain. So what do you have? In the phone you have a dopamine, I heard the dopamine rush equal to heroin when you take. You have in games. So this is in the medical science way, but in our idea, we have the spirit, and also the dimensions, both dimensions. They get opened up, and when they enter, you get addicted, and you are not in control of the body. They are in control of the body. Okay, so that's where even the parents find it difficult sometimes, not easy. So when even small toddlers, they can handle it. They just go to YouTube, tuck, 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 tuck. I was surprised one day, and then the parents silence them, and because like bribing them just to control them what to do. But I would say it's good to supervise until the age of 18 because they are going to be exposed to the Gnaloka. Even good boys or good girls, who are really have special potential, they will, especially they will be caught by these forces more, devil's forces. So one has to be very conscious of this. Because today it is there. It's not taken like if you have a whiskey or some drugs near you, people will notice it. This is harmful. No harm, not very harmful. And looks so respectable to have a phone and all that. And advertisements are going in that direction. So just imagine, you have to be very, if you have great potential, that might be taken away from this. And people, because the opening to the sense world is a magnifying, normally even normal sense world is a disturbance for, going inward and Godward. So you can't completely let go of that because we have work to do with this and so many other functions. You must learn to limit it, at least for your work purpose, and be conscious of this damaging. You can get it from YouTube itself. And for young people, I would suggest also something called no fat. It's good to check in, like it's in Sri Lanka or in not Sri Lanka, they have no idea. I mean in olden times, it was known Kumara Brahmachari. Kumara Brahmachari, I wish somebody told us also. It is, this word nobody knows what's the meaning and what it is. So, but the foreign countries, they are conscious, more conscious. And then they are made entire group or a movement where they are practicing this. So I don't want to tell the details of it. You can refer NOFAPP. Because if you want to be a good, better version of, best version of yourself, this is what we can become, we can do. We bring a certain potential. And how to be successful in life, we can be the best version of ourselves, that's all. So we have to harness ourselves and make good habits. Okay? So this is very important. I hope you go through NoFap and you can also go through dopamine detox, the YouTube. And also the other one I got to know was the short videos, how we had, like some people in Sri Lanka, I told you, I met one lady on the way. She told Swami once, sir, that I do a lot of, good deeds and generosity and all, but I can't meditate. So I listen to Dhamma through, through the internet, YouTube and all that. That's the only thing I do. But I'm more interested in the short videos, So I was going to tell you, the short videos, there's more dopamine. That's why that's the one, and that's more harmful. Someone has made this, it's called doom scrolling. Have you heard it? Doom scrolling, okay? And somebody said, the height of Eiffel Tower, so many hours when you're doing this, it goes to the height of the Eiffel Tower. So it could be. So you go on, this is hours go. And the shorter, the more the damage, the more the rush of dopamine. So we have to be conscious, my friend. We have a limited energy and we will just become normal beings and just will pass away. Not only normal beings, there's something else I don't want to tell you, next life and all that, whether you, I don't know how far you might believe this. So, but you don't need to believe, must make some research regarding, regarding the phone, please be conscious, okay? We go through that, then this knowledge will help you. And the other one I found was, there's a nice, young people here, so I like to share with them. I found it's like a life coach or life the thing. It's called Grim Hustler. Have you heard? Grim Hustler. You must go to that channel, okay? Have you gone through? No. Have you found that? Grim Hustler. It's called the Mafia, Russian Mafia. He looks with tattoos and all that. But I think he sends a message, very nice, very constructive. Like when you get up in the morning, you look at the phone, okay? And then before you sleep, you use the phone. But he's striking the way he says, and it shows you, it makes you to change something. And to put you on the track to really, change your actions, your behavior. And so it's I hope you can refer that, but it will be fun, especially for young people, because he tells it in such a way, it's very striking, and it goes into your head. It's funny, such people are there. Grim Hustler, G-R-I-M, Hustler, H-U-S, T-L, Hustler, E-R maybe. Okay, so, but one small problem, he used a little bit bad word in the end, okay? So it doesn't matter, he tells more good. You may hear so many, you might pretend you're not hearing. So it doesn't matter, you hear that and you get more better, good thing from it, okay? So go through that, go through dopamine detox. Because you are only going to get some points from me to change yourself, okay? That is something I'm not expecting, hopefully. If you don't change, that means something wrong with me also. That there's some laws working why it does not affect people. So my concern is that you all will have some benefit and you will change your life and get into this, actually doing it. So that is it. Regarding the phone, I have told. Regarding how not to use Fair and Lovely, I have told. How to create more beauty inside you. And then I'll come to a very important topic. So it's understood for you that how when you're reading these things, okay, so what is inside this, I will try to give it in a very, something very important part of Buddha's teaching about consciousness and about our transmigration into a next life, how it happens, and even this life, I don't know how many of you are familiar with karma, the law of karma. Do you think it is actually happening, or do you think it's some hocus pocus? Okay. Anyone feels like it's not very clear to them? You can raise your hand. It's maybe not so, we die and it's all finished. How many of you think that when we die it's all gone? So how many of you think the karma is maybe, karma explains like previous life, what we accumulate in word, thought, word, deed, what we do, that makes our, that's the famous way of knowing karma, karma means like comes back to you, what you're sent out. Do you all think it really works like that? Sri Lankan people, they will say they are already from young age just blindly believing. Okay? I didn't do that. I saw my mother worshipping, doing prayers. Okay, but I didn't think truth and about life I will know from Buddhism initially. I was interested in physics, I thought actually, because in Southern Africa with the people who were there, and I was going in that direction. And finally, I happened to see a lot of things in the Buddha's teaching which explains life completely. Are you all familiar? You feel okay with karma? Do you think it works? It's there? At your young age you believe like this? You should not be believing like that. In what is this place? In Berwick, I could see all the young ones, they are like parents are so anxious because there's a lot of atheism. I got to know. I don't know. So I think what's the problem with being? I think you should not be anything, atheist or this or that. Why you are against anything? You study, you research, and then come to a conclusion. Just trying to fall into like a political party, right? I will be what, I don't know, here kangaroo or what? Kangaroo party, I don't know. Republican or Democrat. It's not like that. You should research. You must find out. The human brain is capable to do that. You know, human beings are not just blindly. They have that special faculty. Even gods don't have. You know, so we must utilize that particular faculty. We must be honest also in our search. You know, I have gone to people who are like beggars, and because they had knowledge, they have stayed in temples for so long. They have knowledge, and I used to sit down with them and get that as a young boy. So you should be thirsty to know the truth, and it doesn't matter from which source it's coming. That doesn't. So karma, I would tell you, don't believe. Okay, try to go through these books and also see whether it supports or. One is called Edgar Cayce. I think I told yesterday. Edgar Cayce, Many Mansions. Have you all gone through that? Edgar Cayce, Many Mansions. Interesting book. Okay, you must go through that. He used to go in. He was called the Miracle Man of Virginia. He used to go into unconscious states, and people used to come. He had solutions to where there was no solution. People went to psychiatrists, went to specialists, and no solution. Then they came to him. He was famous for giving proper, in that he mentions about karma. Suddenly he goes, he used to go into unconscious state, and he goes back to what is this Crusaders' time. Some things we do now, which we have done in the Crusaders' time, which is now coming back to us. Very interesting. And also, like this, so many, in the Jesus who have seen him from far away, now who are involved with social service and all that. How that first impression, the seed was sown, then that sight. And then how that willpower that brought them to, next, they were just working their heart, and now they are doing so much social work and all that. So like this, so many. One nice story that I slightly remember. They are called case studies, not stories. They have recorded someone beside, have been always writing, because he's unconscious, he just speaks then. So he says maybe it's the subconscious has all knowledge and it comes out like that. So one story I never forget, there was one lady who was spiritually very inclined, and she was in New York. Her profession was to show her hand in the jewelry, advertisements. So her hand was extremely beautiful. And then she used to expose that, and they used to, whatever for the advertisement, they use it. And that's the way she used to live, have her living. And then she had some problem which she couldn't resolve, and she got to know about him, and then she went to him. And then she had a reading, they are called readings. So he went to the unconscious state to see, she has been a nun in a previous life, in a nunnery. She has been, practicing the spiritual path. And then she has cleaned those, toilets and all the other things with so much devotion. She didn't feel this is yuck or something. No. She has been, just doing it with so much faith. Even about, some things where you didn't express outwardly, but inwardly you were grumbling and all that. How that comes now in this life. It's very, it's nice. It makes sense so much. So this is something I want to just tell. So there Buddha tells how this, karma is created, and also how this rebirth happens. It's very much understanding consciousness. I know consciousness is not a very clearly understood thing in the Western. I think they still think that it's like in the neurons, some chemical reaction or some working of neurons. Somewhere in the brain, this consciousness working. They don't know it's a separate thing, and the body is only a base for consciousness. This is well known in the Eastern, the rishis, the seers. They already knew it was a separate thing, and they also knew it rising from the karma. They call it samskar, like latent tendencies within you, which greed, hate, and all these defiling thoughts create this what we are now coming out, what we are experiencing now, and stimulating those things again, those thoughts again. So they have some idea like that. So Buddha gives a very clear this thing about it. He calls it the cause of consciousness. Actually, in the Hindu Vedic or Upanishadic, not the Vedic, Upanishadic traditions, they explain a lot about, and they call the pure consciousness also. Okay, where you are. So it is in the conscious. Trying to escape from consciousness is away from another consciousness. Okay, but the Buddha found, he practiced that, and he found still he was not satisfied in the initial stage before he became the Buddha. And then he came to this very specific, very clear distinction that made him the Buddha was through wisdom, not through another state of feeling or consciousness, an escape from consciousness. It was from purely from the path of wisdom. That is, the main contribution was the conditionality of consciousness. And then he saw how the conditions were taken away and there won't be consciousness arising. Okay? But based on this, I will just tell you now. So just an idea for you all to get. I have been now explaining this. Actually, my teacher used to come to this point when I used to be calm, and he used to only explain at certain times. And I also did only in the retreats in the beginning, and then because all this Buddha's teaching is leading to that. Okay? So, but now it happened that every program I'm telling you this. Okay? Maybe you all are, I'm exposing you all to one of the highest purpose and highest thing about life, the secret of life in a way. Okay? So I don't know how much it will get digested with that, but anyway, who has the potential might, okay, not been. So this is how my teacher is to explain. Now, first I will tell you, in Buddha's teaching, how the consciousness arises. Now we are unconscious and then we become conscious. Okay? Say someone hit you. Okay? And you became unconscious. And slowly you're coming to consciousness. Suddenly it starts, say, from your eyes. Okay? You know your consciousness, how you separate. When you know you are conscious means you feel and perceive. Alright? Okay? Is it through the ears or is it the touch? So all the feeling and perception. These are the factors of consciousness. Consciousness, what is inside the consciousness is a moment of consciousness. You have feelings, perceptions. Alright? And reaction. These things happen in consciousness. It doesn't happen in this organ. This organ is just an organ. So, the way Buddha explains, for each consciousness conditioned by the things that consciousness arises. For example, you have ear and the sound vibration. Okay? They are taken as the material part. When these two are there, and there is a kind of initially something says in the ear, like initially, without at all having any kind of like reflection, that is the initial moment of consciousness rising. And these three coming together, there is something that called like a sensation, a vibration of that is called feeling. And when there is something, when that happens, there is something in the mind that it analyzes or it judges as pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. That judging and measuring nature is called perception. When it analyzes or that judges or measures as pleasant, there is something else that second happens, reaction. That reaction with greed. And then if it is judged as unpleasant, perceived as unpleasant, with aversion. If it is perceived as neutral, it's called, you react with delusion, according to Buddha's teaching. Normally the neutral feeling, if we just experience it, we are actually having delusion. So we are not, there's another way how to remove that delusion. So these three things happen always in us. Okay, if you think only in the reaction, that thinking is called manokarma, mind karma. Okay, if you tell a word with that, for example, okay, someone hit me and I become slowly conscious and I recognize the person. Alright, so I feel frightened and this thing, or little averse, that becomes manokarma, mind karma. Alright, so in case now I tell something, go away, with this thing, then it becomes karma done by word. And say I give a kick to that person, okay? then it becomes physical action. So this is how the Buddha explained. We are doing it constantly. This is what we call our person, ourself, and all that. This body, he classifies into the body, and then there is the consciousness. The factors of consciousness is feeling, perception, and mental reaction, like this. So this you have to have an idea. So normally, each organ it happens. Okay, now if the sound goes and touches the eyes, does anything happen? No. Okay, if the taste, do you taste from your ears? Each organ has their own domain. Alright? So you have to learn to see how they are conditioned arising. For example, if something touches the food, the tongue, that food when it touches, then only that corresponding consciousness takes place. Okay? So the touch is separate. So 6 organs are there. Body, the touch, the tongue, the nose, the ears, and the eyes, and the mind separated. Okay? So each one has their own object, and then consciousness arises correspondingly. Now, at the moment of death, so we know normally even to come to this retreat, okay, first came the thought. You got to know that there's such a retreat, a meditation retreat going on. Alright? So then when you get the thoughts, then you get the urge to come. Not a retreat, I'm sorry, this talk or whatever. You get an urge to come. No, you don't get an urge suddenly like that. Okay, there is some karma related to this in the past for you to feel drawn to it. You can do something else, maybe watch TV or something. So, there is some karma. Maybe you would have been a monk, maybe you would have been going on this path, maybe you now a little bit fallen away a bit. But there is some similar karma from the previous life or whatever accumulated, that this is dormant. So you first initial thought came, then you physically went, and then now you're experiencing it. Okay? Same day, all these lot of things in our life happen because driven by our past karma. Okay? So now the last moment, now for example, say you're very involved with the material life. Okay, like you're attached to your relations, family, and you don't do any special exercise spiritually to be detached. And you are so engaged with the 5 sense world, especially with your relations and other objects that you experience through the 5 senses. And you make karma. What do you mean? You get attached, you fight, you love, and these things happen all the time in working places and all that. Then you accumulate that type of karma. Okay? So the moment of death, this is the crucial place. Moment of death, we know, it's well known, that the last thought comes. Okay? Normally we know of course from reading the Dhamma so much, that the last thought determines our next life. Alright? So, this is very interesting. Now I know people who have come to the near-death experience. It's very interesting. They suddenly see their dead grandmother talking to, or mother talking to them. And sometimes they see some different kind of creatures they have never seen before. I had this experience. I was nearby somebody, but he didn't die, but he was going to die. And then he was telling, Swamin Vansa, I'm seeing human beings, and suddenly I'm seeing like, other, not people here. He was about to go. Okay, now normally it is known in old people, they give some sedation and all that for those, called schizophrenia or what, when you're talking, there are unseen beings actually, troubling them coming. Now, if I want to tell you all my experience with these things too, please remind me this part, okay? I'm going to tell this and I might forget where I stopped, okay? Someone there, my secretary. If anyone guarantees, because I'm explaining a very important thing, but I will tell, suddenly I'm remembering these sounds and things like that. Normally it is known, like, in Sri Lanka there's a special animal, it's called shh, Rahaya. Rahaya is something. Rahaya, I don't know whether you have, not cricket, huh? Cricket? Is it correct? Cricket. You have a certain sound of crickets, right? There's a small insect called cricket, right? Yeah. So I remember so this sound comes normally. Alright. So I used to be in one hut in the national park, like 2 kilometers away from the army camp who used to bring me food, some packet, but 30 kilometers away from the nearest, like they have this cane culture, cane, call it, like they are having some kind of agriculture where they have come from their villages and they're bordering the forest. So it's about 30 kilometers away from there. So I'm staying there. One day suddenly I'm hearing this unnatural sound, shh, so I know it's a mental sound. So I don't normally, if I get a disturbance, I will not stay long. I know I will leave I left the area. But I was researching what this sound was. So I have other ways, like my guides or I inquired. They are telling that because that jungle area, full of jungle, you have to go now. Okay. You served Pindapata also today, right? So I hope you will get all the strength and coming to this will clear your life and give you all the strength. I hope whatever you got now will help you. I hope you have to keep some books and whatever I said, try to refer. Maybe it might help you from this mad monk. Okay. I wish you all the strength. This meeting give you all encouragement to go on this path of peace, purity, strength of mind. And wherever you are, that you can be at peace without any worry in your working places or in your family life. Everywhere that you also be a blessing to others who are suffering mentally. Never get worried with people who get angry. They think you'll be a cooling effect. So they are in distress only, that's why they do like that. So as a person who goes on the path, you can be a healing balm. That was So the sound of Rasnil. Rasnil. Are you feel hot? No, huh? Okay. Maybe. Alright. So, I was getting this sound, So I just, I must tell you, I have some kind of, from a young age, some few guides. I don't believe what I am also. I have like second, third ways of knowing what I'm seeing is also correct. Alright, it's my field subject. So some mystical visions I also, can't say that it's really so or not, it could be wrong. So they happen to, I asked them what's happening with me, like this, I'm getting this sound or something. They're seeing like around this jungle, there are so many spirits, So sometimes I have a lot of compassion sent to all the beings and all that. So they come close, they are attracted to that. But they are not leaving. So they are like staying around my area. So that's the sound I'm getting there. Normally people who have mental disorders and all that, they have one or two these extra things. It's not a problem. But of course, if you can't handle it, so much is there and their influence is coming, your perception gets, confused. So anyway, my people who helped me, they could see this particular. Luckily I don't, I don't see all this. I'm not psychic as my devotees. They are more vision, they are seeing this side, that side. But I know they do exist, that I know very well. Even the devas, the other higher divine beings, this I know very well. But I don't see them as such. Others I'll be confused so much seeing this, that, right? So they, what they said, that close to me, these people have come to the city also. Though have come now from the jungle to the city, they are there near me still. Some are with big stomach, with long like this, and shh, like the sound like that. So then they gave me the thing, for me, like, Yala is nearby Kataragama. You know Kataragama? It's a very sacred place where it's called Tiruvihara. It's where Buddha is supposed to have come visited there. And there's another tree called Ashtapala Bodhi, special Bodhi tree. Okay? So they just told me, Swaminwansa, you can go, you just few days, 3-4 days, you visit the both sacred places, and this will get cut, it will remove, it will go away from you. And I did that, of course. Then after that, so these are some tools, I give people for their problems. Some other things I have already recommended. With all this experience I'm telling, so that you all will, unnecessary influences or sin can be overcome by, even special way of thinking and special way of doing. So this is very interesting. That time it happened. All right. So where did I stop? All of you forgot? Okay. Regarding no one. I told you to remember that part. Okay. Someone know? I will have to use my own memory. Oh, are you following what I'm saying? Then where did I told you to remember and remind me? You forgot. Sorry? So that thing you can't remember, is it? Okay. Anyone? No? A few minutes ago what I said you forgot.
Experience where you
Unhearing.
hear the not voices of
Thank you.
people.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good. Because, now that is because they have accumulated. Now that's why I'm telling you, this I also have this experience where these are spirits actually. So now some people who have done good deeds. For, like now, the one occasion, this mother was coming to this person. Like mother, he's talking to the mother. Or he's telling I'm a young mama, my uncle. These people they have built temples. Tell you, they have built temples. They have gone to like Burma, for retreats. Those days, like 40s, 1940s. They have been so connected to the temple and all that. Now they are still here. I call this the transit lounge. Yeah, transit lounge. You like to stay 5-6 hours. You find it difficult, right? This transit lounge is not 5-6 hours. It is many lifetimes. So now this was happening. I don't want to tell who because someone very close to me. I saw this because I don't have the heart to think that way. I hope that I feel that person will save the soul. So now what happened? Why they have? Because they still had attachment to family and around. They didn't do meditation enough to separate from these things. Okay. Now normally, if you don't get this undistracted state of mind in the morning session of meditation, unless where you separate from the body and the gross consciousness, like the work things or family things, you are very much with the body too much. And what happens? Mostly who are attached to us, the unseen world, those beings are mostly with us. Our great-grandmother, now when they're dying only they come very prominently, but they have been all the time with us. We don't notice that. Okay, and all the reason why they are there with us is also, we are doing the karma at their level. Okay, we are behaving, we are living a life of attachment. Maybe we are, sometimes that's why, sometimes we like to do good deeds, but we don't like to meditate. Why? Those relations did good deeds, or did dana, or observe even sila. But they didn't meditate. When you try to meditate, they don't want us to get detached too much. Okay? They want to still live, continue to exist. Alright, so then, so these people, just imagine, so unless the body now, sometimes you find our bodies, sometimes, who knows the old people, they will know you look like your great-grandmother, you do things, they would say. Actually, the great-grandmother is in our body. And like this, the ancestors, they don't get buried properly until you are separating yourself from the body. That is from at least samadhi or panya, the Dhamma. So the last minute, okay, I'll come to this main thing now. Do you all get this point? I don't know. Okay, I wish someone, if you are there where people are dying nearby, maybe if you get a chance, you will find this nicely relating. You'll be able to understand what's going on. I know I got to know like my grandfather's elder brother. During the British time, they were like, hunting and like dancing, partying, all these things. And gambling also, everything, they were enjoying. And the last days when he was dying, I heard, he was telling suddenly, I'm seeing black dogs are coming, black dogs are coming. So the last moment normally where the karma you're supposed to reap or be born, that nimitta will come, that object will come. Okay? So why an object comes? When an object comes, the consciousness will arise. Because consciousness is the one that is, it's the one that we say that rebirth is happening. Okay, what we can see as rebirth is consciousness. When it's when the last moment, so the object comes means there's a possibility of consciousness arising. Every being it happens. He gets a last thought. Even in coma or whatever, because it happens from the mind organ, even according to what karma he has to reap next, that object will come without his control. So then if he has done business and all that, for him to continue his business, he will get a family next life where they will encourage him to do business and all. Unless they did, if they have done deeds in a good way, like if they have done really lied, stealing and all these things, then they will not, get that kind of birth. But otherwise, if they have generally lived very good life and then, involved in business and all that, they are most probably will get a human birth again, where they get encouragement to do that. So I tell even people now, if you only continue to do this, being good and all that, in Australia I mean, next life also you can expect to come here. Right? Yeah, it is not a joke. Maybe before also you have liked or you have been some connected karmically here, and otherwise you would not rise here, come here. So anyway, but at least now you get more matured and evolve your evolution as a being, where you are going, So what happened now, you must understand, is the last moment a thought comes, that becomes a condition for consciousness. Okay, we know consciousness is an object and the organ. Is that clear? Like these are the conditions, then it arises. Okay, so the last moment they get a thought and that becomes an object for consciousness to arise. Now my teacher explains this. Actually I have added a lot to that basic kind of awareness you should have. Now, according to my teacher, there's some. Before that, I put another one. In the Buddha's practice, there are sainthood, like who attain, who sees nirvana initially. They are already they are maximum. They say 7 lives they will be reborn. But before that, they will practice, and if they practice hard, they will be liberated more faster. But this is one type of beings are called never returner, non-returner. Okay? A non-returner is a saint where he has no karma in the 5 sense world. Okay? Karma is related with desires. He has no desires with the 5 senses. And he has not accumulated anything related to 5 sense world. But he has still attachment to samadhi, concentration, or peaceful feelings. Okay? Peaceful spiritual feeling which is experienced with the mind, he's still attached. That's why it's called never returner here to this realm, but he goes to a higher realm which is corresponding to that peacefulness, where he will continue to perfect his complete detachment from all feelings, and there he will not be born again or rise again to any impermanent state of existence. So this is how a never return is called. He doesn't come back here. Okay? So now, in the last moment of death, we have a last function of our breath. The breath goes out. Alright? So normally the person who I was telling before, who interacted with family and all that, in the last moment when the breath is going, who has accumulated karma, he gets a last thought, okay? He or she gets a last thought. Don't worry, not only men go, women also have to be reborn. Alright. So the last moment, the thought will come. Alright. So it is most likely they will remember maybe their family or somebody which which they have associated a lot with attachment. So that becomes the object for consciousness. Now, when the last breath goes, can the person look at the last breath until it goes, or will he be distracted by that thought? What do you think? Yesterday were you here? No? Okay, what about others? What do you think? Will he be distracted, or will he be able to look at the breath until the last breath goes? Okay. Now, say for example the non-returner, the never returner. Now the non-returner, he has no distractions from this, But of course he's not completely desireless from that peaceful feel. Alright? So he's attached to that, that's the reason he goes to that realm. Now, in his case, when the last breath goes, will he be able to focus on the last breath? Or will he be distracted by maybe that peacefulness or whatever? I know when you say non-returner, he looks very pure and all that, okay, but try to understand. Only if you are desireless only, you can actually keep your attention completely until the last one. If you have some desire, that will take hold of you, and that becomes an object for consciousness to arise, and then rebirth happens. Okay? So, but this is it's easy to understand, don't worry, but it's something very, very mystery explained by the Buddha about our death and going to next life. So when we told the object is necessary, so when the last breath goes, can a non-returner, because he still has some desires for the pleasant feeling, peaceful feeling, and his mind goes to that, when the last breath goes, he has no desire for the five sense words, that is not distracting him, anything. Can he keep his attention to the last breath, when the last breath is going in time? Or will he be distracted by the peace or whatever?
If you practice this mindfulness, you can just mindfully pass away.
Passed away,
The last bit.
the anagami, the non-returner. Maybe. Okay, just...
Not anagami, but completely nirvana.
Yes, so he's not content completely. So what will happen to him?
Non-returner means become arahant.
No, non-returner means he will become arahant in that other plane. Suddhavasa, they say, pure abode. He will complete that, because he has not mastered, he still be distracted by a feeling or whatever.
I think he is from the anagami.
Anagami, yes.
Then you won't get distracted.
He will not get
Distracted.
by anything.
There is a possibility, but because he has practiced,
He will not get distracted by the five sense objects, but will he get distracted by the peacefulness or the samadhi he is still attached to?
Yes.
Okay. So that distraction, will it not be an object for consciousness to arise? Huh? Okay. So then when the last thing is going, will he be there or there? He will be? Huh?
Not in here.
Okay, not in here, right? Yeah. So this is to understand the conditionality of consciousness. It's very deep thing. My teacher used to tell me. So this my teacher, even if you understand like this, it is actually used to warn me. This is deep. But one day, if you happen to go and really practice the Buddha's original teaching deeply, this will become very meaningful, and it will make you that's what enlightenment is about. You will begin to, that experience will make you understand the core of this life. The whole thing you will understand. That's why then, understand means not, I will read your mind. That is not understanding completely. It's self-realization, self-knowledge, and death knowledge, life knowledge. What is really going on, the main thing. So then you're cooled also, you will not, no anger, no greed, you're saint. That's a true saint with this wisdom. So then the Arahant, the perfectly enlightened one, has no attachment whatsoever. That is higher, the last, than this non-returner. Such a being has no attachment whatsoever. Okay? And no karma also. The karma is the one that brings a distracting experience to you. Alright? So there is no accumulated karma, and there is no, whether it is in the mind or for peace or any feelings. It's only pure wisdom in the Arahant or the perfected being. So such a being, when the last breath goes, can he keep his attention to the last? What do you think? Can he keep the attention? No desires, no karma whatsoever, no distraction. He can, huh?
He can.
But now if you get it wrong, is there a river or what is in here? There are no ocean, eh? I will jump into that. But this is a little tough subject. Tough means I hope it will help you all one day, because this becomes very meaningful if you ever going to now know what I'm trying to encourage you all is the whole picture of the purpose of this. It is related to that. It's not just to become calm, peaceful, get healthy body. There's a bigger problem in Buddha's, cosmology. Being reborn again, that's suffering. And the uncertainty where you could be born in so many spheres where you will never imagine to come to a Dhamma discourse or teaching like this. Leave alone impossible about life or you are just struggling for living, struggling for just existence. There's no out of that. Today there are a lot of people like this, even as human beings. But leave alone human body. There's some other bodies we can get that will be like tossed. So Buddha gives similes to explain that. Kanakaspaya Visidring, like a blind turtle, trying to see through a small hole that is floating in the ocean. The chances of getting a human birth, because to get that human consciousness is so difficult. Okay. So we are going to, so I have given you some things to think and to practice. Also another thing I want to touch about Vivekananda Swami also again, about sensuality and that how it will affect our getting our super brain active. I will just remember you I'm now telling. Anyway, I will first ask some question you like to ask and then what's the time now? This is 1 hour fast, right? This clock is correct? Correct? 10 minutes to 10. We started around what time? 8 o'clock. Okay. We are almost going to... Anything you want to ask? Yes?
Now, you were talking about last minute thoughts before the death.
Yeah.
How does it relate to a person who dies in an accident or a sudden death?
It will be not a clear thought, but it will be a thought. No clear thought is also a thought. It will be like a shock or something. It is now normally, in that street now actually to die in an accident is not, it's a strong karma is working. Strong karma, to in a blast, like I had actually a brother who with the LTT, he was actually not LTT, he was flying, he was a pilot, he was flying one of these C-60 commandos and the plane disappeared. And he actually, they couldn't find the plane or anywhere, and the father and all, they were really heartbroken. And they went, because relations they want. By that time I am already practicing, so I was able to separate, see it's not my ear and all that. It's a long story, how I... but anyway, regarding this, I knew, because actually he has saved me in the swimming pool when I was a young boy. We were in somewhere in a hotel where, I'm not a good swimmer, he's a good swimmer. So we were playing in the pool and suddenly I went to the deep end. I couldn't come back, So all the other friends we were there and I was going up and going down. But then he knew I was not joking. I knew he was a good swimmer. I said, Mali, when coming up, I'd call him, younger brother, come, Then he came swimming and he put me into the... So he's he saved my life. Then this thing happened to him. So from my own, my field, I console the parents, all that, okay. But then I went on my path. he was not very religious and all that. So I went on my path, I became a monk and all that. But I knew, I researched, they can't find the area where the flight really disappeared. So they say weather problem, technical problem, something like that. And I know that when he dies like that, he's not going to get a proper rebirth. Okay? So even we do all these pujas, transfer merit, it's not reaching him. My subject, I know about this, so he'll be there. He'll be stuck there in that vicinity. So what happened? I went on my path of, then I was going through LTT, 2003. This happened in 98 or something, I can't remember exactly. So I was walking, and finally I came to the area where I was having rest, near the sea, in Jaffna. There this, the Navy, they gave me a small hut to stay, and they also made for me to rest for about 1 week. And then I was going back to South Sri Lanka walking. So when I was there, last day I asked called it Commander-in-Chief or whoever in the Navy, right? Commanding. The chief officer of the Navy, he visited me sometimes. And I didn't want to ask this personal question, because I talked about the Dhamma. End of the day, I asked him, the last day I asked him, I had a brother like this and he disappeared and they couldn't find in the maps where it fell or whatever. And he said, I was on duty that day. They were sent, he was the one who went with the thing to, it's a very funny thing how he's the very officer, that time he was not having this senior position, I guess. So he said we couldn't find Swami Maharaj, we couldn't find where the location where they were playing this thing. But 1 month ago, the fishermen, their net got stuck to something below the sea and they called us. And to see when we went, it was the engine of this plane. The interesting thing is, they made me like a kind of forest, they knew I'm like a jungle monk, so other than the room they gave me, near the beach, they made a little 1 kilometer away with bushes, they made like a cave where I could go and meditate in the afternoons. So this very place, he told me, in front of the very place they made that, another day I was to go that day. I stayed another day and I told him, I don't know whether I have my own lunch, I made a packet or something, I can't remember. This was in 2003. Because I knew, I had an idea that he will get this good karma only if I go near the area. This I had an idea, but I didn't think about him all the time. As a monk, I went, doing my thing. But I thought this is an opportunity for me to do something fine. And then I went. Then the fishermen were there, and there was an army, 2 people, Then I told them, I didn't know the language also. I told them, can I want to go to the water and give this lunch, this thing to parcel to one of them. Tell them that. And I told my reason is I had a brother who, he died and the engine was found in front, so I wanted to, give him some good karma. Merit. So they went like that. What happened after that? One of the officers, there are 2 officers, suddenly this one officer is like becoming unconscious. He's leaving his thing and he's going, and then when I looked at him, he looked just like my brother. He has sometimes he gets this kind of attack like catarrh, they call catarrh, right? This like a allergy. Exactly like that with the flame coming out. And I was asking him, he was telling like a big stone was put into his head. I asked him, did you get this feeling before or anything? Have you, no Swami, he was in Sri Lankan language. No Swami, I have never experienced this. I don't know what is this. Like this I'm getting, so anyway, I don't know. Maybe it's that my cousin or whatever, my brother, actually, we were both bought together, same toys together, like this. Anyway, maybe. But it's interesting. But the last moment, definitely they have, but then, the karma will determine, they will get even in coma when they are dying. Even in such a flash, the thoughts are such a, it won't be a clear one, it's possible. But some people who have trained their mind, maybe, depending on what you can't do last minute practice. It's how they have lived. If they have lived a solid, strong mind, then that will affect. Last minute the habits work. Some they look for their keys, their bank account, the books. Okay? Today they look, definitely all will be looking for their cell phone. Right? Because they think they can escape suddenly, Definitely. These people. Anything, anyone else? Yes?
So, in order to avoid this, to deal with this situation, or what happens at the last breath, is it correct that we should train now in wise reflection or wise attention?
Immediately you must make sure, very important thing I'll tell you, when it's coming to my mind suddenly when you're telling this, there are very strong determining defilements. For example, mainly it is done with raga and dvesha. Now I could see in the retreat, that's why I call it a karmic operating retreat. I've been telling this long time, some people who know me, they have been waiting for this retreat. The karma operation is done. Why? Now when there is solitude, what happens? Now they come and tell me, Swami must say, because they are not familiar with this practicing, suddenly a lot of lust and thoughts are coming so much. They are very worried, and sometimes a lot of drowsiness is coming, a lot of other anger, fears are coming. Yes, your karma is being operated. These are the main, it's just coming out, opportunity. And now you are doing those practices, they are going to be clear. Suddenly memories that, maybe some partner you have been with in the past is suddenly coming up. Now if you don't clear, this is why it's called process of purification, cleansing your karma. Now if you don't do these kind of practices, what will happen? When will it come? It will come moment of death. Okay? Then without your control, it will take you somewhere. Alright? So these practices are clearing your karma and purifying. Okay? So these things you have to do. And daily now you want to die mindfully. So what is the reason? You have to live mindfully. More you are doing that, more it will become habit, and it will come to your, it's all conditioned. So, and you must have daily habit, daily program. Okay, like morning when you get up, you must have some rituals. Do metta, compassion meditation, a little bit focusing on the breath, and you may get the urge, I have to do this work. Don't do that like that. Stop yourself. Your whole quality of the day will be changed. Okay, you will be able to do the work without getting tired. Especially driving maybe, and when you're driving, just holding the steering wheel, feel the touch, the back touching to the seat. That special, those small things, the steps touching when you're walking, then you will at least reduce that stressfulness, and you will not feel tired while performing these things. Then you have done properly at least. So you learn to reap that benefit. That is that faculty, not because you're busy you can't do these things. You are not trained to do that. So you have to awaken that ability, and then you'll find your quality of life will increase. And your work will be done without anger and greed. What a beautiful thing. If something is able to remove your anger and greed, some nerve that you can cut or something, where, don't worry, get sleepy and now drowsy. It's now the time I think normally you go to bed or okay. So this is very important. Good question also, because that's a very important thing. You can't suddenly do a last minute cramming like I did for my exams. Put water, in the basement, that is And and the other thing was only a miracle. So I started communicating with higher beings. That's another story. My IGCSE, because I have not studied anything, and I have been only thinking about this thing the whole 2 years. Finally, I hope you, when you're on board, to tell about those old stories. I predicted the English language, English literature paper, but I used a certain way. Did I tell? No. You want to know about that? Okay. I was interested in relativity, theory of relativity. In the theory of relativity, I was, about the dilation of time. Near the speed of light, that time can be, it gets stretched. So, let me tell you, for example, like you have two twins. Is it right? Two twins? Oh, twins, right? There are four. Okay. Alright. Now I'm making my own English, because after a long time I'm, speaking again. Okay. So, say you send one of them for 1 year in a spaceship near the speed of light. So this baby on Earth will be 1 year, okay? So when the other one goes near the speed of light and comes back after 1 year on planet Earth, it is only few months that he has grown or his time has passed. So this was fascinating for me. Now that is there like that, and then there is. I used to read my mother's I'm trying to find, like a world picture those days. I was doing my own, reading everything I can get hold of. Then I got hold of my mother's, some of the suttas also. She has small booklets. One is called Sakkapanya, Question of Sakka, King of Gods, who visits the Buddha. And it explains about his world. Like 1,000 years on earth is 1 day there, and such weeks and such months. And the other one is like 10,000 years on earth, like that, in a corresponding, like that it goes on. Now it looks fairy tale if you just read like that. But when you know that this time dilation is actually a fact, it's known now. When Einstein found it, it doesn't start operating, no? It has been operating all the time, okay? So it's also he found it in a very crude, very minute knowledge actually. But because we take them, our wisdom is not too strong, we think this is like fairy tale, alright? So anyway, this was very helpful for me. So I have not studied all these things, later I related to like this, if something goes faster than the speed of light, it goes back in time. Someone, in mathematics in that way. So I related that to our memory and intuition later. Like intuition goes faster and faster, and it goes to the place where time stops. Okay, that's how I relate to Vipassana knowledge those days. This is not to be thought that way, because you have a very clear way. If you go wrong way, you go mad. Because luckily I came to a right this thing. Because it's going to very abstract or infinite, experience, which you can't talk or think too much. If you think, it's not good. So anyway, then what I did was, now I have not studied, anything. I go to classes and come back, and I am fully busy with this. Sometimes we are talking, now I am talking a lot with my friends. They are listening. They also, because I make them so convinced. And sometimes my father has to come searching for me. To see in the library has closed, I'm outside. He can hear our voices. The very good old days, in Southern Africa. And those were my initial times where I was researching, and it was really nice. And now some feeling is going to us. I hardly try to remember. So what happened? Now what I did was, I had English language paper, old past papers, and also the syllabus. And what I do was, I through this relativity theory, now I used to think about the King of God is supposed to be powerful, alright? So how do you go there? Through faith. In the old religions also, the faith is like how to build up that faith. I had to base on some fact or truth that I know that is happening. And then I used to focus through relativity, the effect of relativistic effects is possible. So therefore, that this world is existing. And when I knew that I really have no doubt about, then I knew I'm connected. And then what I do is I used to have like optional, don't do this, right? If you are going to do this, be ready to be a monk, okay? Otherwise, so what happened? I have to approximate the English language and English literature, the headings. I had several headings from previous test papers. And I did, when I felt I'm connected like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the night, then I did 2 essay headings, I did do like that. And next day I told my father to, now day after that only the exams are there. Now IGCSE, like Cambridge Syndicate, is all over the world. I think my chemistry teacher was from Australia. I don't know. I was very bad, you have to memorize a lot of things, lattice and all that, right? Remember those days. I was good in physics, maths, okay, but chemistry and biology was the worst, a lot of memorizing. And, so anyway, then what happened, my tutor also wondered whether I have not started. I told my father to go to my tutor and write 2 essays under these 2 headings. And the tutor also wondering whether I have not studied everything, just focusing on 2 headings. Then he wrote and sent it to my father, and then next day I go to the exam, and they're all sealed and the papers, when I open, these 2 headings are there. And that time I am thinking, I don't care about school, or it's like, like universe is in my hand, like something I feel like that. And anyway, this is how, but based on that only, something else that, regarding like everything, like illusion, everything going to change, and so it happened later. Like then I came to Sri Lanka, met my teacher, and when he told me to go through, then it was really telling, that's how I started. But I started to practice, not only just read the sutras, the teachings in practical life. There was another one story about, I used to read about, like the 4 elements are there. It's called Mahasthipada. Yes, these people will come, they can remember, I think I told the same thing. Mahasthipada Sutta, no need, you don't need to come to a next program. Okay, this will be your last. But when it goes 2-3 times, maybe you will get some idea what I'm trying to convey with my experience. And today a lot of new ideas also came while speaking. The 4 elements, Buddha tells, explains about the body, not in terms of electrons. He talks about the hard nature and the hard nature. Okay, in the nature-wise. Alright? So, like, which is predominant with that nature. For example, our bones are there, our hair is there. And which is hard here and the hard there is same. That's how he's trying to show us. And then there is like the fluid nature. Like in blood we have more fluidity. But hard nature also there, but in minute. More is fluid. That's why it's called fluid. Apo, Tej, Apo Dhatu. Patavi, Apo. Then the fluid nature, say for example, we have in blood, urine and all this. Okay. So for example, say the urine inside us and then the water outside is same. Mentally if you picture, this is a way of analyzing, seeing the true nature. So for example, you go to the toilet, when it's here you think it's my urine, okay? And when it goes to the, not commode, what is called, this is commode, okay? So it, okay, when it goes there, when it mixes with the water, it's very clear that it's like, it's no difference. It's here, now we make blood donation, right, to somebody. And say this is my blood, my blood I call Gnanaloka blood, okay? When you put into the other person, does Gnanaloka goes inside there? No. Okay, this is how to see in your mind. This is a type of meditation where you begin to see in its fundamental nature and take them apart. Now hard natures, watery nature and the airy nature. That is the breath you can see, the air inside your body. And And like that, you relate to the 4 elements. They are called elements. And like this, you separate them and you see there's empty. There's only a concept in our mind. We feel this body is like me. Okay? This is where the insight is. Buddha is trying to give us this insight into, like, for example, we have a house and all that. It's because of all these things coming together. You get an idea. It's a concept of house. Same way with flesh and bones coming together, you get a person, the idea of a person. Alright? You take them apart, so there's a special exercise. Now, this way you'll find now word of the Buddha, it's practical, you have to do this. Alright? So you know consciousness needs a body. Without a body, can you get consciousness? In just the free air, we know that we have a body and an object and then consciousness lies. Now, if the body you realize like this in your meditation, that is not my body, it's only concept. Then what about the consciousness? Also, is it me? Because it depends on a body that is not me. And can the consciousness that arises can be me? Based on this clarity, the other will follow. So what is in consciousness? We feel, this is my son, this is my husband, wife. This is my, all that, it comes in consciousness. Alright? So when you have practiced like that, you seem to see your body is not me, and also you begin to see the consciousness as not me. So if someone comes shouting, you can, if you have practiced, you see just the feeling perception, not me. Okay? So it happened to me, about me, those days when I have been reading this, okay, about this topic. Is the time to get up or sleep? Or go to work, I don't know. It depends. So, I'll be ending now. It's coming to the end slowly. Okay? It's a normal time, 3 hours, 2.5 hours. It's quite a long time. Okay? So, today there's a night practice also going on. Just after this, continue to 5:30. And so this sutta, one discourse of the Buddha, is there about, his main disciple explains about this, and so you might read this also here. So the consciousness also, you realize it's not you. So I have been reading this sutta, discourse by the Buddha. I was 18 years old, and that time I was under means my auntie, very hot-tempered auntie. She's the one who used to give me pocket money. Pocket money means from some rent house in Colombo. So I had to go to her to get the rent and all that. I used to stay with my grandma. So then I used to visit her, and she took me to the Sri Lanka. We have the tooth relic exposition, like once so many years later, they bring it out for people to see that or venerate. So it's in another city. So my auntie got some passes and she was, you were able to go directly. So I come back and I see the line and all that. I felt so attracted. I thought I must go again. And those days there was this LTT, the terrorist problem, bombs going off. So where there were crowded people, they frightened. So I told my auntie, the next day, after 2 days after visiting back, I didn't ask her whether can I go. I said I'm going to, as a young boy I was a little bit, so I should have asked her, can I go? I said I'm going. When I said I'm going back, she was surprised, like she went, oh, you know what I mean, oh. Anybody can understand, right? So suddenly I got focused to me that practice I was doing, these 4 elements and feeling perception, but then the sound coming. And then she wondered what happened. No reaction. So this was the first time and the last time she scolded. Okay, so these things have to become practical. You have to get it in your brain like a radar, where you're seeing the world through that wisdom. Alright? Then your attractions will fade away. Your, repulsions will fade away. You will be experiencing more that peaceful, not by like pretending to be, I'm not angry, no. These things will naturally start to happen to you. Okay? So I hope one day when you're reading that you will... so all of you have a book? Anyone else want to ask something? Yes?
According to Parinibbana Sutra, Lord Buddha Parinibbana took place in fourth jhana. In fourth jhana, is there breathing?
The thing is, when we are relating to the breath, as I told you, like he's completely desireless, and when there is no distraction by anything, you also have to go? Okay. Yeah, I think you all have to go. Just while are going, just stand up, relax. Okay, just relax, stand up comfortably, don't feel the pain. Wait, okay? Try to get those books. It got Gezi many mentions also. It'll be interesting for your research in your path. Like hopefully thought about that about consciousness and directly from the Buddha's horse's mouth. So I hope it will be a handy book throughout your life. And recall how your meditation will improve when you're inquiring and all that. And remove all the obstacles as habits and all that. Bring hustler, all these things. Practically discipline yourself. Have a daily routine where you bring meditation and peacefulness into your daily activity so that you will live a full, complete, fruitful human life, an enlightening life. May the Devatas give all protection and all the unseen noble beings, the masters, transfer the merits to all in this Kotya Devatan Master. Anumodak to Samyak Krishna. May Paladit Yutu Harimarki Kamanka. සිද්ධනාට පෙරයි පවි පුණ්‍ය බලය මත වේවා. කවදාකවත් ප්‍රමාදයක් වෙන්නේ නැත. සංසාරේ පුණ්‍ය බලය මත කරගෙන සතර අපායට නොවැට. ඒ උතු ශක්තිය ඥානය මත කරගන්න ප්‍රඥා wisdom you are getting. Can you put that thing a bit? Wait. on, take some dinner or whatever. From morning you can talk, keep this energy with you. Just 1 minute. You also, you're saying no? You're also going? Okay. Feel sleepy? Anyone who is leaving has some special, any difficulty you want me to pray for you all, just raise your hand if you have. අධිෂ්ඨානය ලැබෙන්න ප්‍රතිපත්තියේ ගමන් කරලා බොරුව වංචාව කොම නැති වෙන්න මෙතනින් එහාට ඒ සත්‍යයට මේ හරි මාර්ගේ ගමන් කරන්න හිත නිවා ගන්න to make your mind peaceful and pure. May you all get all the willpower, all the strength, and may you all never be distracted. As long but it's for your truest well-being, more than even your parents, that great masters, may their golden feet be your refuge. Don't make it a historical thing, and I hope all your corruptness will go away from your system and purity will arise, and may the blessings of all the noble beings come upon you all, be a protection to you all. May these blessings be eternal blessings to you. All your tears get less and less. The Buddha's main Sakras, the Manmahasalage, a Perumpurana Pale, the Adhisthana in this dark age, so much materialism, so much artificial, so much nothing done with conscious. May that all those beings who have that potential, may they rise in force and power and be a guide to all these hordes of demons in this planet. May you all get this strength and make sure they habit daily that you are in touch and you become a light to others around you, and you will become strong in mind that nothing will affect you. You have peace and purity. May it spread to all living beings, from the lowest to the highest. The mass of the masters, blessings come upon the whole world systems. Their Dhamma, Brahma, Sambuddha Mahasaya, Buddha Karunava, Buddha Shanti, Mahakaruna, Shanti Nayaka Mahasaya, Nidukana Mahasaya, Buddha Sanasita, Siddhartha, Subhadetta, Dukindetta, Divas. So don't get delayed. Have a happy, peaceful life, and I wish you all the strength. And may the noble masters give all support to you. Bhagishava, Mahasaya, Mahasaya, Lankan, looking for a Thero, Bodhi Master Sambandho Karana Bhikkhuva, you can ask her, you can do the same if you like to. Buddha Bhagavan. Kamu antim episode करता है antim. Cuti kali tapi ini retreat කරන්න දෙන්නේ retreat එක නෙමෙයි අපි අර පොත පොඩ්ඩක් මම හිතන්නේ සෑහෙන වෙලාවේ 10 මාර කියන්නේ අපි ඉඳන් 9 10 2.5 hours නේද මම පොත කියවන එක කරන්න ගියා හැබැයි මම පිටුවට නිකන් අයිඩියා එකක් දුන්නානේ විඥානය ගැන ඒව දැන් එනවතන. ඒත් තමන්ට මේක ටිකක් තේරෙන්න ගන්නත් පුළුවන් වෙනවා මම කියපු කාරණාත් එක්ක. ඉතින් බලන්න හම්බුරගේ අර සමාජ සැර අධිෂ්ඨානයක් එන්න පුළුවන්. ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් වලදී මම සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අර දැඩි මේකක් තියෙනවනේ ජීවිතේ ගිහිල්ලා ඉතින් මේක දුන්නේ මේ ආයමුණු මේක රෙකෝඩ් වෙලා මේ YouTube එකට දානවා නේද? දාන්න වෙයි නැත්නම් මේ කට්ටිය මේක ලංකාවේ හිතන්න ඉන්නවා. මට කොහොමද දාන්න මේ තියන්න බෑ. මේක රෙකෝඩ් කරන්න එපා. ඒක මම හිතන්නේ කට්ටියට හරි යවලා හරි ටික දාන්න මොකද මම කට්ටිය බලන්න ඉන්නවනේ මෙතන. එයාටත් ඒ ඔක්කොම ලැබෙන්නේ මෙතන හොඳ පොයින්ට්ස් ටිකක් ආවද? ටිකක් හැන්දලෙන් ටිකක් කම්තේව ටිකක් නියනවා. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කස ගහයි අඳුරකට આવති දෙපැත්ත. ඒකනේ යෝගිවරුන්ගේ soft as butter and hard as diamond කියලා නේද? මේක හොඳම දේ නැතු ඉන්නේ කාසකට. හරි මේ ඉන්ටෙන්ස් එක වෙලාවක් ඒව කරන් යන්න ඕනේ පින්වතුනි. ආන්දර ජීවිතේ දීලා පිසුනට නටාවේ නෑනේ පින්වතුනි. මේක සත්‍යක්‍රියා කරන්න පුළුවන් මේ පොළොව පිපිරෙන්න. කියන්නේ මොකද නාසයේ ගාන ලොකු නිකන් නෙමෙයි ඉන්නේ මේක මිනිස්සු මේක ගැලවෙන යන්න ඕනේ අඩු ගන්න. ගැලවෙන එකකට හත්ය වැටෙන්න ඕනේ. නිකන් මේ බනහල කුචි කාලේ යන එකක් නෙමෙයි මේක. එහෙනම් සිංහල කුචි කාලේ. ලංකාවේ මේ ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකේ මම අන්තිමටම කොහොමද ලංකාවේ අවදිකට යන්න බෑ නිකන් මිනිස්සු දන්නේ නැද්ද? ලංකාවේ පොඩි ගොඩක් කමාකම් තියෙනවා ආර්ථිකයයි ඒවත් එක්ක. ඉතින් අපි ඒකනේ මෙච්චර අපේ ෆ්‍රී ටයිම් එක දෙන්නේ මම දිනු කරන්නේ මේ මිනිස්සුන්ට දෙන්න. මේ ශාසන රැකගෙන ගිය කට්ටියට මේ ආයි ඒක ඩොක්ට්‍රින් එක ටීචින්ග්ස් වල තියෙන මේක ඩේලි ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරන්න. මේ හොඳ වෙනකල් බල බලින්නේ නෙමෙයි. ඒක අර අභියෝගات එක්ක ඒව දැනෙන්නේ නැති තත්ත්වයක් ඇති කරගන්න. මොනවාරි අහන්න තියෙනවද අපි යම් දැන් වැඩි ටිකයි නේද? මොනවාරි අහන්න දෙයක් තියෙනවා නම් පොත කියවන ගැන ගැටලුවක් තියෙද? කැමතිද පොත ටිකක් බලන්නද කොහොමද? නැත්තම් අපිට එහෙම කෙලින්ම භාවනාව මේකට යන්න පුළුවන්. භාවනාව කියන්නේ මේ
සන්නස ධ්‍යාන ගැන ටිකක් කියන්න පුළුවන්.
ලොකුවට ධ්‍යාන නම් වශයෙන් හොයන්න යන්න එපා. ඒක පළවෙනි ධ්‍යානයෙන් පව හිතන්න බැරි එකක්. එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් කරනවා. පළවෙනි ධ්‍යානයෙන් පව අපිට හිතීම අඩු වුණාම නැති වුණාම එන එකක්. කාම ලෝකේ. ඒතර අපිට හිතලා ඉතින් අපි හිතනවා මේ පළවෙනි ධ්‍යාන මේකයි දෙවෙනි ධ්‍යාන මේකයි වම කියලා. මම කියන්නේ වැඩි ධ්‍යාන එකින් එකට ඉරසන්නයි. ගොඩක් මහන්සි වුණා නේද? කවුද මම හිතන්නේ පොත් මේවා කරන්නයි මටත් හිත හරියට මූ වුණා. මම දැක්කම මේ කොහොම මේ පොත් ටිකයි මේවා කරලා තියෙනවා. ඇත්තටම මේක කියවන්න පුළුවන් නේද? නැත්නම් කොහොමද? ඒවා කියවන්න ගෙදර තියාගෙන හිමිට තව එකතු කරගන්න බුද්ධ මේ බිකු බෝධිසත්ව වහන්සේගේ සම්මිත නිකාය මච්චුම නිකාය පුත්කෙන් ළඟ තියාගෙන හිමිට පිටක් අර මම කියන එක බ්‍රේන් එකේ යම් දෙයක් වෙන්න පටන් ගන්නවා. ඒක කොච්චරද මෛත්‍රියයි ආනාපානයි සති භාවනාව වෙන මේකත් කරන්නේ. ඔය ටික තව තමගේ සීලය දිනපතා දිනචරියාවේ මයින්ඩ්ෆුලි එළවනේ වයි කටයුතු කරන එකයි වර්තමානට මතක් කරලා කරන ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එක කන්ටිනියස්ලි කරන්න. මේවා අපේ ජීවිතේට දාන්න ඕනේ. දාලා අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම කොහොම යනකොට අර කරුණු ගන්න ඕනේ අපිට මේක দমনය කරන්න ඇත්තට. නැත්නම් අපි නිකන් මේක මොන හරි වෙනසක් අපේ ජීවිතේ වෙන්න ඕනේ. විශේෂයෙන්ම අපි එන්ලයිටන් වෙන පැත්තට යන්න ඕනේ. හොඳම දේ තමයි අපි දන්නවා අපිට කේන්තිය නැත්නම් ආශාව වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් ඒව අඩු වෙන පැත්ත තමයි අපේ දියුණුව. ඒවා එනවනම් වැඩක් වෙන්නේ කොච්චර බණ දැන හිටියත් මොනවා වුණත් ඊපස්සේ අපි කැඩෙන්නේ නැති සීලයකට යන්න ඕනේ. ඉස්සරහට මැරෙනකල් කැඩෙන්නේ නැති ආව නැත්නම් මඩේ දානවා හොදනවා. ඒක අඩු වෙන පැත්තක් මේකෙදිට යන්න ඕනේ. ඉතින් මේ කරගත්ත පුණ්‍ය ශක්තිය මේ විදිහට භක්තියෙන් ශ්‍රද්ධාවෙන් මට හරියම සර්ප්‍රයිස් වුණා මේක මෙච්චර මේ කට්ටිය මේ පොත් ටික print කළා මේ ප්‍රධාන මේකක් මේ කාර්යය. මේකේ තියෙන ආනිසංස මම කියනවා කියන්නේ අර ඒකට හේතුවක් තියෙන ඇඳගාවරි තියාගෙන ඊට පස්සේ ඒක කමටහනක් කරලා නිවන් දකින්න එකම තමයි පටන් ගන්නවා. මට කවදා හරි දැන් ඔය කියපු කාරණාවට මරනකොට ලෑස්ති වෙන්න ලේසියි. මේවා කරගෙන ඉච්චොත්. ඉතින් ඉන්නකොටත් සතුටින් ඉන්න පටන් ගන්නවා බයක් දුකක් නැති. මේ කරගත්ත සියලු පුණ්‍ය ශක්තිය දෙමෝපියන්ට ඥාතින්ට ඉෂ්ඨකාමී දේවතාවුන් වහන්සේට අනුමෝදන් වෙන්න. සතර වරම් දෙවිවරුන්ට සක්‍ර දේවීන්ට විශ්වකර්ම දිව්‍ය පුත්‍රයන් වහන්සේට ඒ වගේම සහම්පති බ්‍රහ්ම දිව්‍ය රාජන් වහන්සේට ඉෂිවරු මුනිවරු සිද්ධාර්ථ මේ බුද්ධ ශාසනය ආරක්ෂා කරන සම්‍යක් දෘෂ්ටි දේවතාවුන් වහන්සේට අනුමෝදන් වෙන්න. ඒ වගේම නාගින්ට ගන්ධර්වරුන්ට බයිරවරුන්ට සියලු මේ ශාස්ත්‍ර දේව සේනාධිපතිවරුන්ට මේ බුද්ධ ශාසනය ආරක්ෂා කරන ඒ සියලු 33 කෝටියක් සම්‍යක් දෘෂ්ටික දේවතාවුන් වහන්සේට අනුමෝදන් වෙන්න. මේ වගේ මේ කාලේ මේ මිනිස්සු ආරක්ෂා කරන පේන නොපෙනෙන පෙරම් පුරන උතුමන් වහන්සේලාට අනුමෝදන් වෙන්න. ඒ උත්තමයන් වහන්සේලාගේ ඒ කට්ටියට පේන නොපෙනෙන සියලු උතුමන් වහන්සේලාට අනුමෝදන් වෙන්න. ඉෂ්ඨකාමී පෙරම් පුරන ගුණ පුරන උත්තමයන් තාමත් ඉන්නවා මේ ලෝකේ. දේව ලෝකවල, බ්‍රහ්ම ලෝකවල, මනුෂ්‍ය ලෝකවල. ඒ සියලු දෙනාටම අනුමෝදන් වෙලා ඉස්සරහට 5000ක් කල මේ බුද්ධ ශාසනය පරිස්සමෙන් ආරක්ෂා වෙලා සත්‍යයට ජීවදානෙ ඒ වගේම විමුක්තිය දුක්ඛිත තත්ත්වයේ වළක්වන මේ සම්බුදුන් වහන්සේගේ බුදු කරුණාවේ අරමුණ ඒක ඉෂ්ට වෙන විදියට ගුණ පුරමුත්තමන් වහන්සේ බලේ ශක්තිය මේ ලෝකේ ශක්තිමත් ඉස්සරහට මේ කාය මිනිසුන්ට ප්‍රායෝගිකව කෙරෙන්න පුළුවන් කාලයක් යලවෙන්න පුළුවන් කාලයක් ඒ ගුණ තියෙන උතුමන් වහන්සේලාට අවස්ථාවක් සැලසෙන විදියට මේ සුත්ත ශාසනය ඉස්සරහට ගමන් කරවන්න අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මේ පුණ්‍ය ශක්තිය චේතනාට අනුමෝදන් වෙනවා මේ රටේ ඉන්න සියලු මිනිස්යන්ට අනුමෝදන් වෙන්න ඒ වගේම මේ මිනිස්සුන්ට ඥාති වෙලා ඇති පෙර ආත්මවල කවුරු මේ සසරේ ගිය කට්ටිය මේ තමා කට්ටිය මං ආව මට හම්බුණා කතෝලික ආගමකුත් නෑ මේ ආගමකුත් නෑ ඒ වගේ ඒක ලේසි නෑ එතකොට මේ වගේ දෙයක් වරොත්තු දෙන්නේ කොහොමද තේරුම් ගන්නේ කොහොමද ඒ කියන්නේ කොයි උකින්වත් ඒ කියන්නේ ඒතකොට හවුහරණක් මනස මේවා කරගන්න ක්‍රමයක් නෑ ඉතින් නිකන් රොබෝ කෙනෙක් වගේ අපි නිකන් මිනිස්සුත් හැංගින්බර ඉන්න කට්ටියනේ මිනිස්සු. ඉතින් ඒක ඇත්තටම කල්පනා කරනකොට හරිය පව් කියලා හිතනවා. යථාර්ථ ලෝකේ දේවල් මොනපානකොට මේ කට්ටිය කොච්චර අසන්න කටයුතු වෙනවද කියලා හිතනවා. ඉතින් ඇත්තට ඒකයි මේ රටේ ඉන්න භෞතික වෙලා ගොඩාක් ගියාම මේ තත්ත්වයටපත් වෙන්න ඉඩ තියෙනවා. ඉතින් හොඳින් යනවා නම් කමක් නැහැ. ඒකින්ද මේ රටේ ඉන්න සියලු මිනිස්සුන්ට අන්තිම ලෝකේ පුරාම ඉන්න මිනිස්සුන්ට මේ පුණ්‍ය ශක්තිය අනුමෝදන් සත්ත්ව ලෝකයේ අවිතින ඒව බ්‍රහ්ම ලෝකයට හැමෝටම මේ මඟ ගමන් කරන්න අනුමෝදන් වෙනවා කවදාකවත් දුකටපත් වෙන්නේ සතුටින් සතුට නිවන් සුවය කරා ගමන් කරන පෙරපින් මතුවේ දේව ලෝකයට බ්‍රහ්ම ලෝකයට සත්ත්ව ලෝකයට අවිචිත මනුෂ්‍ය ශරීරයක් ලැබිලා ගමන් කරා සෝපත්ත්වා දුකින් මිදෙත්වා නිවන් සුවය संसार पीड़ित मत दुख दुख पाना बचो दुख ඔය පොත ගෙනියලා ලයිබ්‍රරි එකේ දාන්න එපා. මේකට බලලා තමන්ගේ කබඩ් එකක දාගන්න එපා. මම කියපු කාරණා සිහිපත් කරන්න තමන්ගේ කර්ම ඉක්මනට කැපෙනවා. හැබැයි තමන්ට ගොඩක් ප්‍රශ්න දිනවල ફોකස් කරන්න බැරි එක වෙයි. හැබැයි දවස් ගානකින් හරි මාස ගානකින් හරි ආයි බලන්න පිළිගන්න. බලලා ගලපන්න ක්‍රමයේ අල්ලගන්න. ඊට පස්සේ මෛත්‍රිය ආනාපානසතිය try කරන්න. දෙපාන්දරම. ඊට පස්සේ වර්තමානයේ හිත තියාගන්න එක ඊට පස්සේ try කරන්න. අනවශ්‍ය දේ නොබලා නොආ යන එකක් try කරන්න. ඒවත් එක තමයි අර හිතේ ඇතුලේ කූල් පොන්ඩ් එකක් වගේ තියෙන ශාන්තිය. ඒව ටච් කරන්න ඉඩදී. තමන් අර විදියට ගියොත් තමන්ගේ අශාන්තියක් නින් හම්බෙන්නේ. ඒ සාන්තියක් නම් සනසීම සතුට කියන එක මට මේක ලොකු අවස්ථාවක්. තමන් ඒ උතුම් හැබිට්ස් ඇති කරන් අන්තිම නාකිය වෙන එකවත් මරණයක් බයක් වෙන්නේ දුකක් වෙන්නේ. ලෙඩ හැදෙන එකවත් ඉස්පිතාලට ගෙනිලා මන්ට වෙනම එකක් සමීපයක් විමුක්තියක් හදාගන්න. ඒක අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මේ සිල් දෙනාට කිසි බාධාවක් නැතුව මේ මුණ ගැසෙන අවස්ථාවේ මේ වගේ අවස්ථාවකදී වලට එක පිටර එන හැමෝටම උතුම් සංසාරේ ආරක්ෂා වෙන ගමන් කරන්න. ඒවා සුපිරිපත්. Buddhanuභාවය, ධම්මානුභාවය, සංඝානුභාවය, සදා සත්‍ය බලන්නේ. Terusai, ada depan. Ya, ආවේ නැහැ නේද මේ දැන් නේද ආවේ? කවුද දැන් ආවේ? Meditation කියන්නේ ඉතින් මේක මට බල කළා මේ කට්ටිය මේ light අඩු කරන්න වෙනවා. පිටිපස්සේ අර light ටික satellite ටිකක් අඩු කරන්න. අර පුතෙක් ඉන්නව නේද පිටිපස්සේ? එන්න පුතා. Basta le siamo? Siamo? Then දාන්නේ නැත්නම්